So, hello and welcome everyone to what this is going to be what's called the episode 0. So, we're basically repiloting the Presence of Mind podcast because we're pulling it under the XCEL banner. So, for anybody that's not familiar, XCEL is a new content team comprised of competitive players, content creators, like a mix of. I don't have the command here, Tfal. I'm sorry. I'm slacking. I do need to make one though. I made one on my YouTube, but I don't have the command on this channel. But it's a big collaboration from a whole bunch of different kinds of people in the Spellbreak community with our lead designer Jellied, who's actually going to be joining us. So we have Tfal, Kaos, Megaverse, myself, and Jellied is going to be here on today's episode. So yeah, so we're absorbing the podcast into like our branding and like what we want to do. We're still going to bring in guests. So like if there's someone that's been on or someone that wants to be on, still potential to do that. But yeah, we're definitely pulling everything under this banner and kind of bringing it into the initiative of what XCEL is trying to be, which is to just be like a really big source of content for the Spellbreak community. So yeah, so definitely make sure you follow the Twitter and just get involved, man. Get involved. Yo, look at that, man. Gifting a sub. Thank you, Timmy. We love you. And Timmy will be on with us at some point too, for sure. Mm-hmm. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Let's do some light introductions. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. To be fair, me and Mega told you that we would take this over, and successfully we did.
True.
Look, dude. I just want to say that after that G3 takeover episode, we successfully have taken it over. So thank you, Megaverse, for endeavoring with me to take over the podcast. We
of course, I'll always stick by you.
Jesus, dude, I'm literally down bad.
How does it feel?
I feel like it wasn't as much of a hostile takeover as it seems, because it was me that said, hey, look, maybe we should just absorb mine, and then me and Jelly talked about it. So listen, calm down, buddy. Calm down.
However you want to word it, that makes you feel better about it. But it was done.
This will help me sleep, so yeah, I'm good. I'm good with it now.
What's done is done.
Oh my gosh, Tfal, how are you doing today, bro?
I'm chilling. I'm on spring break now, so you know what's up.
Nice. If only the chapter was out right now, but we got a little bit of a wait. It's not so bad, and we got some cool stuff to talk about. Jellied, how you doing, my man?
I'm not doing too bad. I'm a little tired, but I'm glad to be here.
I was expecting you to be like, I'm not doing so hot, boys. Like, I'm like, I don't know why, like the way I'm not feeling it, man. Like
this episode takes a very different turn.
It's like, oh,
I'm
shit.
down bad.
Yeah, we'll have to edit that one out. We'll see. No, but in all seriousness, dude, we have so we're a little behind on like the normal podcast schedule. I think we're like almost a week behind because it was supposed to be last Sunday, but thankfully we didn't do that because now we have a lot more to talk about, and I don't have to try to keep up that consistent schedule. Also, as far as like our schedule for these, we might do these weekly. I don't know. We haven't really settled on that, but we'll work on that internally. In any case, we have plenty to talk about. We have, gosh, what has even happened between the last one? I know we can talk about leagues and Dominion for sure. There was the articles. You was wrong, my man.
I was wrong. I will own up to that. I will own up to that. They did it. They didn't troll me. It's not 9v9. It's 5v5, not 3v3, but I'll take it. Like, that's very, very doable. So I will own up to that. Proletariat, you're better than I thought you could be. So
yeah. Someone clip that.
True.
Clip it and ship it.
No, yeah,
that's never going to be said again.
I'm pretty excited about that because it's actually funny. Me looking at Dominion, I see two really big things happening with the mode, and the first is that I just think it puts the strength of Spellbreak at the forefront of the game. Like it tosses you in, you fight. And the big part about that is that we know that it's unranked and ranked, so it's like they covered their bases, right? Like they basically put BR in the corner a little bit, and they said, look, we're going to provide like a nice place to really experience the combat of the game, which is what everybody loves. And it also looks pretty competitive. Like we don't exactly know how competitive it's going to be because we really just have to jump in and feel out ranked and stuff, but it looks pretty nice, man. There's definitely going to be some team elements there. You're going to have to communicate. You got to coordinate and do all the fun stuff. And yeah, I'm pretty impressed with Dominion so far.
Yeah, it seems to be really thought out really well. What I really the highlight to me of Dominion so far has been the fact that exiles have a effect to the score, from what they were saying. And I don't remember the exact wording they used, but I know that like this is the first time I've seen like a domination or like an escalation or anything that I've seen from Gears of War, where Krashy, we've been playing escalation for a long time. The problem was that we had there was that people would just throw their lives to get to certain points and try to like put pressure on certain spots of the map without like without valuing their lives. Now you have to think about whether like playing your life is going to be like worth it in certain situations versus like so I think it adds another layer to it, which is really 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 cool.
Yeah, there's an element of like, I don't want to feed here. And
Exactly.
what I love about this is that at a glance, this is exactly what games need to be. They need to be easy to get into, hard to master, right? At a glance, this is just domination. That's what it is. 3 points, you control it, you get points going to the score. Anybody that's ever played a domination Call of Duty game knows exactly what they're doing here. But it's got that whole other twist to it. There's the shop, there's the exile modifier, like you're talking about. Like if you have multiple points, the exiles grant you more points. There's the NPCs. It's the managing of loot. Like I think that this is like really like. I was expecting a bare bones domination, to be honest. I was expecting a pretty raw version of a domination, and they kind of killed it with some of these elements.
I'm trying something new.
I think they really exceeded the expectation. At least mine. I'm fine with saying like you exceeded my expectation. I thought we were gonna get trolled. I thought it was gonna be bare bones. I thought it was gonna be large scale. So the fact that they have layers of depth that seem to be very and quite interesting. I don't know. I think it's really really good.
Yeah. Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really surprised. Just seeing how many like overlapping systems are involved. It's like not just capping points, not just killing players. There's like the shop. There's all these different things that are involved that you have to kind of like balance, which is like refreshing as opposed to like drop in 9v9 and fight people.
Yeah.
It'll be really, really interesting to see what teams do, because like you're gonna have your players be adaptable. Like you're gonna have a player be like, "I go kill those Valguards over there, see what loot you can get for the team," and then like as they're on there, you go, "Actually, no, come over here, help with this point," and then they have to be able to just swap on a dime,
Yeah, I think there's definitely been like a small bit of rhetoric about like, oh, well, what roles are we going to fill into? And the more you kind of look at it, like, I don't think that it's going to nearly be as like steep as that. Like, I mean, you will have like pseudo roles. That's what I've been calling it, pseudo roles. Like, you're going to have someone that, like, for example, if you run someone on Fellowship, they're kind of supporting, right? Like, that's just the nature of it, but not really, right? You're not really going to have like a jungler, especially after they gave us the information from Jesse's stream that the bots are basically like one hit. So anybody can kill it. Anybody, if it's up, you probably kill it, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you take the time to just
you
quickly
can get that knowledge pot.
Exactly. So wait, I'm confused about this, because I thought that they said that there weren't any knowledge pots, but then now I'm assuming that there is like a small amount. Like we're hearing there is a small amount of knowledge pots, or a low chance
to drop them.
Yeah, Seth on stream said there's not, but then Dan on our Reddit post said there is, and the Reddit post is the more recent one.
I thought that Dan and Jesse on Jesse's stream said that there wasn't too. We'll get some clarification on that, because it's definitely an interesting topic, right? Like we have no idea.
That's kind of annoying. Yeah,
I really hope there's not, because or I mean, and this is again one of those things that should be a distinction to be made, is like maybe if it is, maybe it's only in unranked, because that would be, then I wouldn't care as much.
Yeah,
I would still prefer them to be the same mode, but I just don't like
the same
knowledge.
lobbies, right? Though.
Yeah, because the
shit.
unranked and ranked are in the same lobbies.
Yeah, you're right. Then yeah, I don't know. My personal preference would be like, yeah, just don't put those in here. Like, I think that's a pretty clear point of feedback for the game.
Yeah, that's one thing though.
I would prefer
it's not
it.
really. I don't know. As much as like, I don't know. My thing is, it's weird because it adds a lot of value and possibly. I'm trying to think of it in a good way. My thing is like, I think that it adds a little bit more value to the camps and people paying attention to them. Because I feel like I don't want people to be like, oh, like I'm just not gonna even try to play for these camps or the case may be. But I don't know. It's interesting. And then being that you can get exiled pretty quickly, I don't even think you're gonna make that much. You might be able to make some value out of it, but like you won't be forever just walking around holding them, And if someone drinks one, you'll be clearly aware, and maybe if we get a visual indicator, it'll also be good too. So that's my upside to it. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I mean, you might keep them because they said your potions carry over through respawns, right?
I'm assuming that means if you don't use them though, because that's how it is in Clash. So if you use them, I'm gonna assume you're gonna spawn not with like a full stack of, you know what I mean?
Just get like 2 knowledge pots. Wait for like a big push that your team needs.
I mean, yeah, you can definitely do that. Yeah, you can definitely do that. So like if you happen to be farming them up instead of using them right away, well, that's the other thing too. Like the demand for using the inventory slots is much lower. Like you don't, they're free now unless you're running Spell Slinger and you have some kind of a specific purpose for it. Yeah.
Your Chaos is purple.
Oh, let me just do this one
I
time.
know. Okay, so this is odd. I'm only gonna note it because I'm trying to figure it out. But like, I just have Jelly's mic is like perpetually pinging with audio. I don't know if y'all hear it too. And I don't know like how to stop it unless I just mute him. So I don't know. Maybe if you want, you could try to rejoin the lobby. But
Yeah, I'll try and restart.
Yeah,
I have no clue what's going on.
Either
I can't
that,
hear
or
it.
either that, or
Yeah.
I can unmute in Discord, and then I could just talk to you and like listen to you in Discord. That might be an
No.
easier thing to do.
Yeah, either's fine with me.
Okay, so if y'all want to, the rest of y'all, if y'all want to deafen in Discord, just so y'all don't hear Jellied twice or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So Jellied, talk for me.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, cool. All right.
All right, yeah,
We're-
sorry about that.
We're innovative. No, it's cool. It might just be like the connection with Ninja too. So don't worry about it. It's these things are not perfect systems. Anyways, so yeah, knowledge pots. We'll have to wait and see. But I definitely think that like if it is in the game, then finding good ways to control it is like the best. So like you said, like if you're farming them, you happen to get like one or two of them, then you hang on and you say like, hey, look, we're gonna save this for when we want to close out the game or when we really need to come back or something. Because it's not like you're gonna get them on the first push of the game anyways. So that's pretty.
And if there is a
interesting.
low chance, if it's low, then it's okay. But it
Yeah.
depends on what low is, because I
Well,
feel like they said it's a low amount of knowledge
in
pots
VR, and it wasn't.
and it was
It's
a
not.
lot.
It was a
Yeah.
lot of
A
knowledge.
lot of knowledge.
Dude, I would land at like Dustful sometimes and find like 3, and it's like holy,
Yeah.
holy man. So
You
yeah,
land in Baltimore, you found like at least 5, at least.
yeah. So I feel that. I definitely think that hopefully it's on the lower end. I was gonna take this in a certain direction, and I kind of forgot what I was thinking. It's definitely just leagues, and Dominion is at the forefront of what we're talking about. I guess I'll quickly touch on the articles that we got yesterday, because again, I try to stay on top of like everything newsy related, but I don't know how to stay on top of like random websites putting out articles, so I was just like super behind on that. But there's a couple of websites, can't even recall what they were off the top of my head because they just seem really, really random, that did some press release stuff. They got to do some testing with Proletariat on the mode, and it seems like the general consensus is it's pretty clean. Like these websites, they don't really know the game anyways, right? So they're just like, oh yeah, it's fun. Like we got to see some of the new content, we got to test out the new talents, and yeah, they're hyping up the game because that's really what their goal is. And I'm assuming the people that played it had a good bit of fun. But there was some light talk about like the upgradable class skins, so we know that that's coming, although we don't know how, but it's for sure coming. And so that'll be in
More money.
chapter 2. I don't think we'll have to pay more money. I think you have to buy the skins, but they'll probably be no, I think one of the articles said there's quests for it. So like it's probably just going to be built into the chapter, like straight up, just right when you open the game, there's going to be chests for if you have the skins, you can upgrade them, do the quests and upgrade them. But there was a little bit more, I guess you could say, a little bit more context on leagues. Like it's more so just like reiteration. I don't really think much is that we don't understand is there.
They gave us the entry cost for each rank.
Yeah, that.
And
Yeah.
I did some basic math for it. I used the picture that they showed us from Gold 2 to Gold 1, how it cost 63,000 crowns. And then I kept that the same, even though it's going to go up as you go up in ranks. But I kept that the same for all the way up to Legend. I assumed there was no entry cost, and there's something else. Oh, and I assumed we were getting 3,000 crowns per game. So from Gold 2 to Legend, it's going to take at least 486 games.
And that's also like terribly unrealistic because it's gonna be like double or triple that realistically.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
It's been a big point of
Such a
contention that I've heard.
grind.
Yeah, that it's like not really a MMR system. It's like a grind
Well,
system.
so the thing is it is an MMR system because assuming that the matchmaking isn't like a wide open door where like bronze players can play with diamond players, it's still going to be like MMR based because the window of players that are allowed in the buckets of players should be tighter.
Yeah.
And the thing is like it's not a linear grind. Like this is going to be harder than what it even sounds with like math, because it's just a lot of wins, a lot of consistency, and a lot of time. And realistically, you're not going to get 3,000 crowns every game. You're going to lose games. You're gonna, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna, like it's just not going to happen that way. So
lose games? Did he say we were gonna lose games, Mega?
you're gonna lose
I think
games.
so.
Well, like I
Really
mean,
weird.
let's put it this way: when me and Ross are on the other team, it's just like it's a tough one for you. You know, I get it. So
Yeah,
Wait.
it's a free win.
Do you not gain crowns if you lose?
no, you
Nah,
will,
you
but you're
do.
not. You're probably not going to gain as much as you spent. I mean,
Yeah.
it just depends.
Performance-based,
Yeah, it
right?
depends. Yeah. But I think that like winning should be a pretty big source of crowns. So like
Only 250
realistically,
though.
wait,
It's not-
oh wait,
it's not,
did they actually?
think I
Is that
saw
already
that.
said?
Yeah, I saw that in the image where they kind of showed the entry cost. I remember there was like a little stat like on like it was like kind of to the right, and I saw that there was like it said win and it said like 250 crowns, and it had a little breakdown of like the crowns you get per thing. But I mean, it didn't look like a lot compared to everything else you get.
I
The
wonder
accolades
if
were a
you.
little bit around the same. Sorry.
No, I was being like my brain doesn't let me be polite.
Yeah, you're good.
No, I wonder if you lose crowns for losing.
Maybe.
You
I
probably
don't know.
should,
They,
but
they
then
probably
again,
would have said that. but
that's
they
how I
didn't.
feel too. And so here's the thing: like I think that like rank systems like have a nice bit of subjectivity to them too, like how people want them to work. For me,
Mhm.
okay, so we can all discuss the fact that like bronze and silver are free. Like literally everybody's a gold player if you put in the time. That said, because those systems exist, which I don't hate, I'm not gonna lie, I'll talk about why I think it's good and bad. But that said, if you were gonna do that, I really wish they would have left iron in, because then iron and bronze could have been free and silver plus could have been the ranked mode. So I'm not really sure why, if they were gonna go with that kind of a model, they didn't just keep iron. I don't actually think it's gonna matter that much, because I think the majority of like good players are gonna be in that normal grind anyways. So I think we're all gonna get up. I think the thing that's a point of contention for me is just like it does sound very long, and I don't know if I like that or hate it, because I want it to be long because it's content, right? It's like something to do, and it's definitely something we're going to do regardless of how long it is or not. But is that too long? I don't really know.
I don't really think it's too long because of the fact that like when it's done, you're bored.
Yeah,
So it's like
Yeah.
it gives them a good amount of time to do whatever they want to do. Like we're like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like you just have to grind it out, and it's like okay, whoever gets legend first or whoever, it's gonna be a really big like accolade and something that you can definitely wear with pride, because you know you committed a lot of time to it. It took consistency out of your gameplay, so I think like it's gonna be something definitely to flex. And my thing is, even though it's a grind, people will still have their ups and downs of getting there. And my thing is, if you're not like straight consistent and always like playing with a good squad or playing your best like Spellbreak, you won't like win that much. So it's like I don't know. I think it's kind of good because like they have time. They have time to do whatever they want to do next. Because once it's over, it's like okay, what's next?
Yeah. Especially with like the length of chapter 1, you know? Like
Yeah.
if they pull another one of those.
Yeah.
4 patches a year.
yeah. I definitely hope that like we get a more frequent update. What I've been saying is like an update, like one balance update within a chapter at minimum. I think that would be okay. So but also just the fact that we have something to do, even if the meta does kind of like get hard stuck in a single position, is still something good. So now I do have questions, because like one thing we know for sure is that there's not going to be like a top loaded like a minimum or what's the word I'm looking for, like a restricted number of players rank. Like legend is not like only like 50 people can be in it or something. So that's a thing, and that's fine. Like I don't think that that's super necessary. It's just like something that's really nice to have. We also will not have a leaderboard on launch. So Jesse replied to my comment on Reddit and said like, not on launch, but these are like implementations we're already like looking toward for the future. So I think that they know that it's important, but it's also not something that is like a necessity for the mode to physically function. So if I'm being honest, my position is like I'm a little disappointed by it, but it also doesn't change a whole lot. Now, what I would like to see them do to like supplement that void is to maybe like Andrew does weekly streams, right? Like maybe every week he can announce who the top players are, and like use as an opportunity for it still to be like an accolade and something that we can see, even though we can't see it. But another thing that I think is important is like, let's say hypothetically you do hit Legend 1, right? does it have a hard crown limit on it, or is it like the battle pass or like the chapter pass where you can push that number over? Because at very least, if you can push that number over and say we all do hit Legend 1, then we can compare and contrast with each other, like, oh well, I'm deeper in Legend 1, so technically I'm rank. Like, we could tell each other who's rank 1 and stuff. But if it's, well, let's say it's like, I don't know the number, let's say it's 500,000 crowns and it doesn't go higher, then we're all gonna hit, like, I don't think this is really gonna happen, but hypothetically we could all hit the same exact rank and it wouldn't matter if we played anymore. I don't think that's going to happen, but I hope that rank, if it does have a hard limit on it, it'll allow you to, or I hope that if it does have like a flat number on it, it allows you to push over that number.
Wait, is there tiers in Legend? Is it not just Legend?
Oh, I don't know.
It's
I
just
actually.
Legend.
Oh, okay. Well, then I hope Legend has a crown bar to it as well, like an infinite crown bar.
Yeah, that's probably it. That would make sense. Like Apex has like Predator, and that has an infinite amount.
Yeah, I mean that would be nice. I feel like like it's just good to be able to compare about who's at the top of Legend versus who's not. Fun.
Yeah,
I think we're
and
gonna see like less than 100 Legend players in the first season.
probably. I think that's pretty decent. Yeah.
It's probably due to the grind, not even like the skill.
Well,
It's
I mean,
just
the grind is also about the skill too, though. Like, I also like want to make sure that like we're not discrediting like the fact that you have to perform, because otherwise if you're not performing consistently and performing well consistently, like very well, then your grind is steeper. So it's not just the grind; it's like you have to be good and you have to do the grind. To kind of answer J Rose in chat, he's saying like, you know, like, not to just say that they should copy Apex, but how there's like a highest top 500 rank. I definitely think that like they should do something like that eventually.
And they're going to.
And they're going, exactly, and they're going to. It's just one of those things that is like, that is the visual infinite grind. And I'll always use a very specific word, although I get kind of worried to use this word sometimes, especially in 2021, if I'm being honest. But ranked modes need to be an addiction. They do. They need to be an addiction. I want to be addicted to it. My internet points need to be bigger than your internet points.
Yeah, literally.
That's unfortunate because that's not going to happen.
Well, you know, I've got you beat in age, so I got something.
I will bring it back though for leagues to the Windows Central Chapter 2 preview that they posted, which was when they were showing off the divisions and stuff. There's a how to compete tab and it says welcome to the league's beta test.
I saw that. Yeah, so, I actually commented on that on my video. I was like, I wonder if that's because they were in the beta test of it, or if it's going to say that on live. Because if it says it on live, then we should all expect that. Well, realistically, we should all expect that the first iteration of a ranked mode in any game comes out and it's not perfect, because I don't think that's ever happened ever. So like, we as a player base have the responsibility to play the game, to enjoy the game, and to deliver feedback. And that's exactly what we're going to do with this system. And that's exactly what we're already doing. Because one thing that I said is, like, let's talk about the Division 5 floors, right? I definitely think that that's an interesting topic. I don't hate it, but a part of me wishes, like, if you're going to put a floor, why not put it at 10? Like, why not make it the bottom of the rank? Like, if you're a dookie plat player, you should be a dookie plat player, not a mid-tier plat player.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's such a grind anyways, and there's so many divisions in it that they could have done 5 divisions, but then doubled the amount of overarching things. Like, they could have bronze 1 to 5 be called bronze, and then after that be called, like, steel or something, you know? They could have done that. It would be the same thing. It's just smaller, but there's a lot more divisions, so they're just trying to give people, like, if you get to Platinum 1 and then all of a sudden you're having like a bad week, you're not going to go all the way down to Platinum 10 and then have to waste another 2 months getting back up there.
Yeah. Well, that's like a good point, but like what they could have done is like made it more like congested, sort of like have the same amount, like you said, over like smaller like amount. So like it would just be the same amount of grind, but like you'd just be stuck in like bronze 5 more, or like bronze 4 for like longer, you know?
I kind of feel like divisions are best when there's or like ranking systems are best when there's like clear skill indicators across divisions. Like I think that someone that like say someone is like struggling to get out of gold, or like they really are kind of like hard sitting at gold 5, like there should be a pretty clear like skill division between someone that's literally gold 5 and someone that's like in platinum. Like you should be able to tell like what their inadequacies are. And I think that we might still see something like that. Like I don't know, it's weird. I'm looking at this system and a part of me like feels like it's free. Like a part of me feels like, yeah, I'm gonna put in the time. I know I'm gonna get as high as possible. But I don't think that that's the case for everyone. So I feel like a lot of us in this call specifically kind of have like a really interesting perspective on it, because there are a lot of people that play this game that aren't at the highest peak of play, and I don't think it's going to be so free for them. And even for me, like I'm gonna have to bust my ass, like especially if I get matched up against y'all, because like realistically that's just not gonna be easy.
Yeah,
I mean,
feel
it's
like
pretty daunting for me to approach because like you guys are all far more experienced players, like comp players, and I'm just sort of like looking at it like a casual perspective. This is like a sort of like a daunting system to look at, seeing like the entry cost for these higher levels, understanding like the time sink that it's going to be beyond anything else, you know.
Yeah.
Which
I feel like the time. Go ahead, my bad.
I was gonna say I'm comfortable with that. I like the time sink. I do want to say I agree with like what Ross and JRs are saying. Like I think more ranks and less divisions would be cooler, because like I don't know, it's like less cool to say like, oh, I'm blah 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 3 than to have like a full on like more identifiable rank. So I don't know. I think that they could have almost added like 2 or 3 more whole ranks in this.
Yeah, it would have been cool to see more ranks, because like I mean you get to then say like you get to flex that rank opposed to saying like yo the difference, because I ideally like we're gonna see a hard difference and a hard skill gap start to be set. So like there might be a dramatic difference between gold 5 and like gold 2, and then like people are like yo gold 2 plus, like where they could have been like like if there was another rank they could have been like
Onyx.
Onyx,
I
yeah,
had to throw that one
yeah,
out there because that's a
yeah,
Gears
right, like
rank.
yeah, good one. So like it could have said, "Yo, I'm Onyx versus Gold, like Onyx only players, or whatever the case may be." But like, I mean, I think it's still cool. It'll still work out the same. Like the culture will still be the same. It's just like it just sounds cooler. Like it could have sounded cooler. That's like where we're all like trying to say.
You could have probably done like Diamond Masters Legend. Like there's still like you really like
Yeah.
you could probably add like 2 to 3 more ranks to this system, and I think it would probably be a little bit better. But again, I don't think it's existential. I don't think we're looking at it like, wow, this is really bad. There's so few ranks.
Nah.
It's not like that. I'm just being nitpicky at this point.
Yeah.
Although I will
That's
say,
fun.
bronze 10 to bronze 9 is 1,500 crowns. That's one win.
That is one win.
That's kind of nice. That's gonna be like first game accomplishment, and by the time you get to like your 15th game, I'm still bronze 9.
I want to see what the meta is like. I'm really like so like I know for example Marcus has been doing like the what is it called, like the Little Legends, or like it's like a kind of series where he like goes into like newer players and how they play those lobbies played out. So I really want to see what the meta is like in bronze 10, like like what is that meta like, or what is bronze 9 and 6 like 9 through 6 like, like I really am very interested to see, because I think I like you said, Krashy is like, oh, we're all like pretty expected to get to like the higher ranks of the game, but I'm really interested what it looks like for people that may struggle, what they need help with. And I feel like that opens a big window of content creation for a lot of people that are able to like create things that may be helpful, like maybe they're not using their runes as much, maybe they're not focusing on points, maybe they don't know how to rotate, or even like new groups of friends, because you can really grab a whole group of 5 and like have fun with it. So I'm really interested in seeing like how that shapes up, which is I think is really cool.
I wonder if there's going to be like a requirement to get into ranked, because
What do you mean?
like a level, like a mage rank requirement.
Oh,
Because
hopefully 23 plus.
so I don't know if the 23 matchmaking for BR is sticking around, but if it is, that's fine. I don't really care. I don't care anything about BR, but yeah, like something like that. And the reason why I say that is because another thing is like, let's say a brand new player hops on the game, dude, they're not even going to have all the talents. So
Yeah.
that's going to be interesting to see like what the minimum will be. Yeah.
especially because I guess with the new classes it wouldn't be as hard, but they're making you go all the way up to like level 7 in classes now, right? To get
So they
scissors
told
through
us
talent?
they told us that the only talents that are going to be unlocked are like the base ones, which is like I think the one cost. So I think you have to unlock everything else. So yeah, you're gonna have to hit at least 3 level like level
Intervals
unlocks.
per class.
Yeah. Now I actually was theorizing that in chapter 2 they were going to reset all our class ranks to 0. I just thought that that was going to be like what they do chapter to chapter. They said that that's not what's happening. So when we all hop in game, we're going to have everything unlocked.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I'm pretty happy with that. That's
Yeah,
nice.
I'm pretty satisfied.
Nice.
Thoughts on rank splitting the player base, like pubs versus ranked? Like, do you think it'll have an impact on the player base? Personally, for me, when I read that, especially going into Jesse's stream and hearing them talk about it, it seems like you ever go bowling and you put the bumpers up? It seems like they're putting the bumpers up in game 1 and they're gonna watch, right? Like they're gonna see, like, can we hit a strike without those bumpers? And if they get enough players, then I think it's literally something they're just gonna like flip the switch on and say, yeah, we don't need that, turn that off. Because anything that they've talked about in regards to matchmaking for Dominion, it sounds like they just want to have everything in place so they know that games will be rolling. And if the games are going good, if the numbers are looking good, then it's just like it's a necessary evil until it's not, right? So they're watching it. I've heard them say a couple times we're going to watch that heavily. Like we're going to have our eyes on that system to see what it feels like. The question that OP asked on Reddit was like, will I be in ranked on my own and have unranked teammates? And on Jesse's stream, they straight up said like, we don't know yet. We're still deciding about that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely like, you can tell that there's a need for data, and you can tell that there's a need for iteration. And I think that that's fine. We should be comfortable with that as long as that we can help them get it to where it needs to be by providing them that the feedback that they need.
I think that's very fair and transparent, though. Like, I feel like I'm glad to know that they're not sure about that, and they're saying that they're not sure, and they want the data that needs to be done. So it's like, like even at first, like you said, like, no ranked iteration is just like perfect, and I feel like that's our flaw, and that's a very like I'm okay with that flaw. Like that's fine to me, and it's like more like your defense against that is if you want to play ranked and you want to play in a ranked environment, you're gonna more so want to look for teammates, which also to me is a great way because Spellbreak Discord is a great place to find players to play with, and I feel like people should do that more, and even if they're not like close friends with them, because I do that sometimes just for stream. Like I try to do that every now and then, and because you meet cool people and you just like it kind of grows the game a little bit more because people get the experience of playing with other people. So like I feel like it leaves more room for party search, and that's what the Spellbreak Discord is used for. So I don't know, I think that's pretty cool that like they leave it like that. So like it kind of discourages you from playing solo, but like knowing you don't have to because there's other players that want to play with you, So
yeah, and I'm like, I have 2 accounts already. I'm definitely gonna like, I don't know how to handle my second account because I'm not a smurf, right? Like I'm not trying to keep myself low and like stomp games or anything like that, but I would love to do like ranked games with like people in my stream and stuff, or like do like a series where I like try to hit a certain rank with like a certain gauntlet or a certain build only, or you know what I mean? Like there's definitely some room for some cool stuff like that. Merlin asked if we're gonna play ranked games together, like XCEL. I'm sure we will a fair amount.
Yeah,
I think a lot of ranked is gonna be. Yeah, I was gonna say I think a lot of ranked is gonna be just like, yo, we have a group that we know we want to play with, but like maybe someone's not home yet or they're busy, and then so someone fills in, and you just kind of like mix and match until I don't know, probably until we all get very high up, and then once we get really high up, it's going to be like scrim time, right? Like diamond game scrim time. That's kind of what I imagine. I kind of think like once you hit plat diamond, shit's going to get like it's going to get real.
It's gonna get real. It's gonna get real fast.
Mm-hmm.
And those are gonna be VOD review games. Like those are gonna be like, okay, like what could we have done better
yeah,
here?
and
like,
y'all better be streaming because I'm gonna make some content.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be streaming like most of that. Like it's gonna be really enjoyable for me because I don't know. I've been ready to. My problem with Spellbreak for me right now with playing it and like it's like I get shunned for doing too much or trying too hard. So it's like and I don't like that because it's like bro, that's what I get my enjoyment of. I know like that might not be everybody's spice, but my spice is like talking shit, being competitive, being over the top. Like that's my entertainment value that makes me feel good. That's my release in my day because I can't, like I said, I can't go outside and say like just yell about anything. That's just like it's my breathtaking moment where I come in my house and I can yell whatever. And then the best part about it is I'm not yelling at anyone. I'm yelling at a monitor and no one of my opponent can hear me. So it's great for me. But streaming is a little different and people get to see that. But I don't know. I just love that aspect of it. So I think ranked is gonna give me like that's gonna give me that way to entertain myself. and just yell at someone. And especially when I play people I know, it's gonna be great. Like I can yell at Krashy and be like, "Yo, Krashy, your shit," and he's not gonna like, he's not gonna take that personally. He knows like, yo, we're good, we're friends, like whatever the case may be. So I can't wait for that personal enjoyment of just like that sweat fest, that competition, other people rising up, other people saying like, yo, that kid's kind of cracked. Like, yo, we were talking shit, but like, like he pulled up. Like, I'm really excited for that part of the game, and I'm really genuinely excited for chapter 2. Like,
yeah, there's gonna be and this is what I always talk about with ranked modes. There is the thing about competitive is there is a layer of like you need to be good, like, and I'm talking competitive, not just ranked.
Yes.
But there's a lot of connections. Like when you start getting good and other people recognize you're good, then the little groups start to form, the little cliques start to form, the teams form, and when things start to solidify, it like almost gets hard to break through that wall. It always comes down to having to prove yourself. Me and you could talk about this for days about gears.
Yeah.
You got to prove yourself, but a ranked mode, dude, if somebody solo queues their way up, you think it's not going to turn at least a few heads? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is going to help the people that don't feel like they're in the boys club or whatever jump into the conversation, right? Like because we know there's a lot of good players in Spellbreak. It's just straight facts.
Yeah.
And some of those players are going to end up making teams together and showing up, and then some of those players are going to pop off solo and joining teams because of it. And that hypes me up from like the community standpoint. Like I get to sit back and watch and see who's good, and then poach them from their teams because I'm the best content creator in the game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be Krashy and Ross mixed with the top 3 cracked players in the game. Like, it's too good, dude.
Yeah. No.
Tfal, you're kind of quiet, my dude.
I was muted.
What do you think, man? What's going on in the mind of Tfal with leagues and Dominion? And
I'm excited. I don't know. I just want to see how the badges look. They better look good if we're not getting anything else,
I kind of wonder if so we're gonna get let's talk about rewards. Let's do that. First and foremost, a lot of speculation, especially with the Valguard Inquisitor skin, which we now know is the tier 50 chapter pass skin, and it's also, or at least one version of it is also the NPC Valguard skins for Dominion. So the speculation, especially coming from me, was like, oh, that's going to be like the league reward skin, like we're going to get like a couple variants of it or blah 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 blah. Turns out that that's not what's happening. It's just a skin in the chapter pass, and it's also just like the NPC skin. A little disappointed there, but when I think I don't remember where I put this. I float out things to the devs all the time and they reply. I don't remember where it was at, but I basically said like, oh, like, can we get like a skin in the future? And it's like, maybe, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things like, yeah, that's something that we'll look into. So rewards for chapter 2 for ranked are going to be a title and a badge. So the thing about the badge though is like,
I bet it's just the emblem.
Yeah, and I get that too, but like, does that mean that the emblems are going to change every chapter? Because like, once I get it once, do I ever need it again?
They have to. I think Jesse did say that's not going to be the case for this one, but like down like next couple chapters, that'll be how it is.
What, they're going to make new badges every single chapter is what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. I applaud them for that if they do that.
Well,
You're just gonna do one version and like, color it up every time.
Well, yeah, you just do one per like rank, and then divisions will maybe be the title. Like if you're like ended up in gold 3, it would be like gold 3 or something.
Yeah,
like that,
but my point is like, okay, if you don't change the badges every chapter, then once I've already, like, let's say I hit legend in chapter 2, then chapter 3 rolls around. Well, there's not a badge for me to unlock because I already have it. So like,
the emblem changes, right?
Well, that's
like
what I'm saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
I also have to get this out there. I know a lot of conversations been had about Apex. I don't play Apex ranked. I don't know anything about it. So do they change their ranked icons every season?
Yeah, they have like a theme. They have like a theme for each season, and so the badge that you get matches like a charm that you'll get on your gun, and then they just like recolor it and add detail.
Okay,
like
that's
as you
cool.
go up the ladder. Yeah.
Well, then we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if they do that. Because first of all, I think like, I don't know. I kind of try to continue to remind myself that they're not the most massive studio either, and so. Like, for example, let's look at Talents. They repurposed artwork on Talents, and when asked about it, Jesse literally was like, yeah, time and money. And I vibe with that answer because it's just straight facts. Like, yeah, time and money. I mean, it's not like the artwork matters, right, on these Talents. It doesn't mean anything.
Not at all.
I'm going to get so confused.
Are you really?
I'm gonna see someone has intelligent. I'm gonna be like, my man has recklessness.
Oh my god. Relax.
Same.
I feel like there's no way you get confused by that.
I feel like
I
after
already
a while,
think.
Listen, bro.
after a while, it just becomes natural.
I watched a clip of you. I watched a clip that demonetized my stream of you stopping 2/3 of a talk's or spreading sickness, and you can't remember some artwork, my dude.
Bro, I can't remember where Vigor is right now. Pretty sure it's a mind talent. Could
Wait,
be a spirit talent.
in live or in?
Yeah,
It's a
I
mind
don't know, I
talent.
don't
What do
use
you
it.
mean,
Mine,
bro?
yeah.
I don't use it.
This guy's so like his head's so deep into runic decks, like he has no idea what's in the rest of the game.
I'll see it when I open up the menu.
But yeah, listen, I'm not saying from like a design standpoint that it's like hard to make new badges. I'm just saying like I would not have expected with where Proletariat in the game is at for them to make new badges every chapter.
Well, I'm
and
glad
it's
they're cutting those things. You know, like they're aware that that's something that they can be efficient with. Like, you know, like that doesn't really care. I don't really care about that. I don't really think most people will care about it. You know, it might be a little confusing at first, but once you get into the nitty gritty of the chapter, like midway 2 weeks through, you're never gonna confuse that for anything else. So yeah, I feel like that's a good like time and money, like good save there. Like, you know, like
yeah,
that's check
exactly.
mark, like,
Yeah.
+1.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I especially if the talents don't coexist, right? Like the previous versions, which they don't, obviously, because they wouldn't have done
If they did, then
Um,
that would be annoying.
Yeah, like could you imagine if they made a new artwork for Scav and put Scav in with new artwork and then had Tough in with Scav? Like that would be like, okay, bro,
That would be
you're messing
tougher.
with me. But yeah, so I don't know if we need to go too meta hard here, but we're talking about talents and stuff, and there's some talents that looked kind of dookie water that looking kind of nice now, and
Spellslinger.
Spellslinger looks dope. Although you can't be like a courier for your team for items. You can't drop anything. I wonder if that means I'm assuming you'll still be able to drop potions. Like if you pick up a
No.
really no.
If you can't drop anything, potions count.
So
like,
the reason why I feel like potions, if they aren't the exception to that rule, should be is because like, what if I farm the camp and get a pot, and then my fellowship player, I can't give it to him to use for us? Like that
All
just
over.
feels weird.
mhm.
What? Hey
Well,
man, I'm gonna
yeah.
leave this pot on the ground. Come all the way over here. Come get it. And that like that's the fellowship role here. You know what I mean? Like, come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but what
Fellowship player's gonna have teleport.
Fellowship
good-
might be dookie.
like
I think
Spellslinger,
Fellowship is gonna be dookie.
Spellslinger is like gonna be certain scenarios for certain classes. I can only see it used for like toxicologist with like gauntlet swap and conduit with rune swap.
I have
Yeah, because it also depends.
I have a
like,
Spellslinger idea.
Blank asked me this, and I actually have no clue because I don't think anyone's asked. Does Gilded upgrade Spellslinger's items in their inventory?
It does. It does.
Yeah,
it
it does.
does?
It does. It does.
Mhm.
Jesse said yes.
Yeah, Jesse said
That's
yeah to
kinda
that.
huge.
That is kind of huge. I actually think that
So-
like Spellslinger on classes that don't usually cover full ranges is going to be really strong because you can. Like you could run Spellslinger and pocket a lightning gauntlet if you wanted to. Just because why
Mhm.
not? And then you could play a full poke game where like, okay, yeah, they're going to push the Sun Hill. We have 2 control. Let's poke the hell out of them. When they full commit to it, we dive in and fight them and beat them. Like this shit's going to be so crazy, man. It's going to be so much that you can try to come up with and do and create your own style with. And I think Spellslinger is looking pretty heat. I'm not going to lie. Let's talk about Curious. I think Curious is fire now.
Yeah, I'm running Curious, Vigor, Vampiric.
I think Curious might
Which
be
one's
one of
Curious
the.
again?
It's the faster scroll reading speed, and then it has the chance to drop like a second scroll, or like I don't know how it's worded, but essentially
Yeah.
like more scrolls.
That's
Better
gonna be
Finders
crazy.
Keepers.
Yeah, since players they say always drop scrolls, I'm gonna
Mhm.
run Curious, and then I'll boulder a Valguard camp.
I think Curious is going to be like hard meta. I don't think everybody will run it, but I think like you'll probably have like 2 minimum, maybe
Where-
I think you'll have one on your team. Like
at least
definitely, like,
one.
definitely
Yeah,
one.
at least one.
One, I think your Stone Shaper player should have it if you run that. Maybe it's either Stone Shaper or like Frostborn, probably.
Yeah, especially because Stone Shaper is like, if the zone's on an elevated platform, I'm not gonna be able to contest that as well as other classes can. So I should be elsewhere doing other stuff, you know? Playing for picks with the team, killing the Valguards as soon as they spawn, and making sure the enemy can't.
Yeah, like if there's like what I see is like Stone Shaper doing that, or like saying like going for the lowest point, the point that's the lowest to the ground. So
I mean, I also think like We don't have, dude. It's so weird because I've noticed this thing that's been happening where a lot of opinions that have been coming out about Dominion have come strictly from their perspective of the Himwood map. Like, there's so much like Himwood context that we have because we've seen that full map and we haven't seen the other maps. So it's like
we've seen Dust Pool, a tiny bit of Dust Pool, and then
we've kind of seen a tiny bit of Dust Pool, yeah.
Jesse
and
and
Bogmore's just gonna be impossible for Stone Shaper.
What I would like you to
Bogmore's
know
good.
is like the map before. Like, I know this is not gonna be at any time soon, but I would like to know the map before you pick class. Like
Yeah.
before you actually pick your class.
I was actually going to lead us into that.
For certain. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's a natural evolution of the discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, because I definitely think that's we are going into, even though it's a ranked mode, we're going into Dominion in a kind of arcadey style. It's a little arcadey, a little casual. I don't think, again, I don't think it's existential. I don't think it's like, oh man, ranked is shit because we can't full form our team and stuff around the maps. I think that if we ever go like comp, like real, like hardcore comp, that is a necessity, right? Like we need to know what we need to know what map. Yeah,
map we're playing before a class selection.
You need to be able to vote for the map, like Valorant.
Then we have just like a map pick and ban phase. Like, that's pretty much free.
Oh, by the way, talking about other maps, Bogmore, they said Jesse and Dan said that it's not like on the castle. It's
they
like
said north of the tower. Yeah,
it's like in the plainish area.
So
with
Shockwaves don't travel down those.
I was gonna say he didn't say that the tower wasn't gonna be in, but I don't think that's where a point is. He said that the majority of the action will happen north of the tower. So I'm assuming that like the tower's still gonna be in, but it's probably not gonna be like an actual like capture point or something. So would be my guess. I had a lot of questions, so that I feel like that stream that Jesse and Dan did was really nice because there was a lot of specific stuff. One of my questions, because I definitely think it's just a question that's been asked a lot, and I was kind of trying to get a lot of information out of it, was what about like spawn camping and stuff like that? It doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem, and the reason why is because you are still going to be able to like float and like land where you want to land. So if you have a point captured, you spawn on top of it and then you can float where you want to float. If you have no points captured, there are 2 default spawns. And so one question that I had, and I asked Dan, was can you flip the spawns? Like if we are hard camping someone, like we have control of all 3 points and we're standing there like waiting for them, will it flip? And he said yeah, there's logic for spawn flipping. So really, like worst case scenario, I mean, but to be fair, if you're getting dominated like that, like the game's probably almost over. Like you're getting dumped on.
Points, like you're getting like
And so even if the spawn logic like flips it for you, maybe you can capture 1 point and try to claw it back, but it's probably not going to happen. I would expect that like the team, if it's like 150 point limit, they're probably already at like 100 points if they're spawn camping you like that. So I'm not really.
Did we get any word
that.
on a mercy ruling like they have in Clash?
I don't think so. I don't think he said there was any mercy ruling.
I hope not.
I know it's gonna suck. Okay, listen, I can already tell you now, we're gonna have threads and we're gonna have discussions about people quitting. It is what happens when people play these kinds of games.
Do we have a quit penalty? That's another thing.
Yes, ranked quit penalty is a thing.
Okay, nice.
And the only defense against when somebody disconnects or quits to help you is that your spawn timer goes down. So it's not a great defense. Like I'll put it this way: if it's a 3v5, we're not gonna win. It doesn't matter what they do. We can't win that. So it's gonna suck when those scenarios happen, especially if you're solo queuing, because realistically that's when it's going to happen. But it is going to happen
because it's going to encourage people to find people to play with. I'm a big fan of like it being like not like you shouldn't solo queue, like I feel like with like recently I've been looking at Road Company because that's the other game I used to play with. Road Company, they came out with ranked and they allowed stack 5 and people were saying like they had teammates to quit and stuff like that, but it incentivized people to find parties, and then people like they built a whole Discord around finding parties, finding ranked and stuff like that. So it's like it's a free way for people to like and I feel like with Element and Spellbreak official Discord, people will find parties and get more stack 5s, and then that will encourage more people to play as groups. So I feel like if you're looking at ranked, your ideal setup is having 5 people or 4 or 3, something that kind of discourages your chances of that happening. But I think we're also, like people will quit. It's just natural. Like, People are gonna get dumpstered. They're not gonna want to play it. It's just.
I mean, people are
happen.
going to disconnect too. Like that's just we're
true,
on the
like,
internet. You know what I mean? Like that's going to
yeah,
happen.
It happens. Like so.
I was like in the middle of a fight with Elpa last night on BR, and my internet just died, and I was like, oh, okay, that's that fight.
That's
like,
cool.
yeah, it's over. So, but yeah, I think that like it's important for us to embrace the fact that like solo queue is a thing, and also like again, I think that there's cool content that can come from solo queue, and I think that it's also like an accolade to like fucking if you can climb your way through solo queue, like yeah, that's a flex, man, because that is not easy. But I do think that like as a community, we should have a culture of creating teams and playing together. Like we like in Discord, like in Element, we need to make sure that it's very accessible to find people and to have like channels. And I think we already have all that. I'm not really worried about that. But I'm saying like as a community, we need to harbor that culture, because the culture of competitive is inherently teamwork, right? Like that is just the way that it is. Like you need teamwork to excel. And realistically, man, like I'm gonna solo queue. I know I am, because I'm addicted to the game and I'm gonna play it all the time whenever I'm around. But if you want the best chance to perform well, like is it even a question that you should 5-stack? You know what I mean? Like you want to do that. That's what you're gonna want to do. Yeah. Wait, somebody talking? I think I got like lag. I think Chaos is lagging.
I'm lagging. Oh,
no, we can kind of hear you. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, cool. I'm back. So I was saying, like, like ideally, like you're gonna want a 5-stack is just because like at the like you're at the beginning you're gonna run into like Megaverse, Chaos, Tfal, Kamsky, or like Krashy, Raw. It's gonna be like a lot of stack teams. So
we heard you, but like it was like we were we were real robotic there. That was so funny. No, we're good.
Dial up internet connection.
It's
Spectrum be trash.
No, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's Ooh, let's read this. This is going to be interesting. Do you think that every chapter for the skin upgrades, right? They might make you kind of sort of prestige with every class. For example, I have rank 20 in Toxic, Pyro, Frostborn, but will stay static, or will going prestige every chapter make level 20 rank in the class reward? Possibly the upgraded skin. I relate to this to COD. I don't think that they're going to do anything like that. I definitely think that like they told us that the class mastery system is going to have some of the the rewards are going to inevitably be retired, and they're going to add new things. I don't know if that means that they're going to always keep it at 20, or if they're going to push it up more, or you know what I mean? Like there's definitely opportunity for them. I kind of do think that the class skins are definitely like a set thing. Like they're introducing it into the game. If you buy the skin, you can rank it up by doing the quest or whatever the path to getting that is. But I definitely think that like built-in progression is definitely important, even if it's not just ranked. So I would love, like, I'm not gonna lie, dude, if they built like a new every chapter, if they added like 5 mastery rewards on top of each class, I think that'd be cool, right? Because first of all, adding 5 more, like the grind to getting to 20, well, it was long. If they added like 5 more, they could keep the experience pretty high and then make it an actual grind again ish. And then also like that would be a cool way of them adding more free cosmetics. But I also don't ever want to like lean too hard into like telling the devs to give us free stuff, because they give a lot of free stuff in this game. Spellbreak gives us a lot. So I don't know. We'll see what they do with that system. Does anybody have any other questions about or any other thoughts, I guess I should say, about the class mastery, class skin upgrades and stuff like that?
No, I just hope that they give us. I guess that's what ranked is actually. Like, it's basically just the class mastery grind, but tripled. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Do we know how we're gonna rank them up? I think you said like
in one of the articles they said there's going to be quests for them. So I'm assuming, I have no idea how casual those quests will be. Like play 100 games with this class. Like I have no idea. It may be to I don't know. It's probably going to be pretty easy, because realistically you have to buy the skins first anyway. So that's a thing. You have to buy them.
Yeah. True.
Rubs asked, do we know if there will be team chat in Dominion? Yeah, you can get into the Dominion as a party of 5, which means that the team chat in the game will be up to 5 people. So if you're in Dominion, you'll be able to communicate with your teammates.
I'm playing squads to practice that, but no one uses a mic in squads.
Yeah, I'm actually, one thing that I know I'll eventually call for, because I use it in Overwatch, is not push to talk, but toggle mute. So I'm hoping that maybe we could get them to build a toggle mute, because I would much rather press a button, talk, and then press it again to mute than to have to hold it down mid combat trying to play. That's going to be tough, but I'm also not crazy enough to leave my mic open either, because I like to talk a lot of shit and talk to my chat. So if I got, like, let's say I don't know, if I've got Death on my team and I'm like, dude, this guy sucks, like he's throwing, and then I say that to him on accident, I don't want to do my man Death like that, you know what I'm saying? So so yeah, give me my toggle mute, dude. What do y'all think is the best number for people for small scale team based game mode? I mean, I think it depends on the mode, right? Like I've seen a lot, like I don't remember who it was, somebody was like, oh well, competitive Dominion should be 3v3, and I was like, I don't really think that makes any sense to me. Like Dominion
3 points 3v3,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
terrible.
Like, because then it's like every fight is so make or break, right? Because like you lose your home hill player or even just one of the person, then boom, they're dominating you. Like they have all 3 points. So I think that like it depends on the mode. I think if they ever built like an arena mode like we've hoped for at some point, like yeah, that would be good for 3v3 if it's kill based, round based kind of an arena mode. But I think Dominion actually looks kind of perfect at 5v5. Wait, is Chaos talking?
No, I was gonna just like pipe up real quick that I'd love to see like a duel sort of thing where you've got your 3 lanes and you get like 3 people and that 3v3 idea, and you have your 3 lanes and each individual person goes down and you're just like facing like random opponents each round. It's just cycling through.
That'd be interesting. Oh, dude. Yo, actually, no lie. Listen, I'm not even like a fan of League or anything, but what if they built like a literal ARAM mode where we're literally like one lane, like trying to fight like 5 people?
All random, all mid.
That could actually be pretty fun. That would actually be pretty fun as like an LTM. Yo, Chaos, talk for me, because I actually think that you either like died out in here or I might have muted you on accident or some weird something.
No, I can't hear him.
No, what happened?
Oh, we lost him.
I was gonna say if you want, you could technically unmute in Discord too. I guess if you wanted to, maybe that works.
Did you press the thing on your like wire?
Good comms.
No. Oh.
Good comms.
Good comms, dude.
I think I'm lagging. Like it's hard. Like my internet's just going through it right now.
But like I can usually tell through the camera, but like you look like you've been pretty stable. We just didn't hear you for a bit. But that's fine.
Okay, nice.
So Otto said, what comp is going to be meta in Dominion? So this leads us into a really good topic of no class locking. So I want to talk about that. Let's see where I want to start. I am not a fan of no class locking, but I'm also not so narrow-minded to realize that having no class lock provides a lot of depth, right? Like a lot of depth. You can run 3 stone shapers, you can run 5 stone shapers if there's a certain strategy there. That said, I don't like that. I don't think it's fun for the game, and I also don't think it shows off the game in a cool enough way where, like, let's say hypothetically running 5 stone shapers like was the meta. Like, bruh, do we really want to be playing 5v5 10 stone shapers on a map because that becomes meta? No, I don't want to do that. So I think that I saw Tfal say this in Element, and I really liked it. I think that at some point, this is something that they'll look into. This is going to be one of those points of feedback that we have to deliver the best we can, because it's definitely the first iteration has no class lock. But I would love to see the class locks be up to like a maximum of 2 class locks. Tfal, how would you say it? You said it the other day, and I don't really know how to word it, but I know exactly what you were saying. Like 2 classes could have doubles, but only 2, if that makes sense. Like 2-2-1.
Well, there's a max, like only on your team, like you can only have 2 players per 1 class. So say you have 2 like fire players and 2 like, so like it doesn't matter. You don't even have to do 2-2-1. But like if you have like people who play like 4 different classes and then 2 who play the same, you could just have like 2 and then like
1-1.
1-1, and another one.
I'm down to do that for only one. Like for only one, you only allow 1 duplicate. Like like instead of like being 2, like I think 1.
I think
like, so
something like that for sure. Like where we end up on that would be cool. I mean, I'm also personally comfortable with a full class lock too. But that said,
I think full class lock is cool too.
I think full class lock is cool because it does 2 things. One, it makes the game not cheesy. Like it literally gets rid of some of the cheese of that. 2, in terms of a spectator sport, like turning Spellbreak into the esport, pushing it to that competitive scene, realistically, isn't it better for the game to show off more of what the game has? You know what I mean? Like, isn't it better to showcase and yeah, one class might get left out, so who knows? Maybe let's say hypothetically Stone Shaper is just dookie next chapter, even though we know it's not going to be, and it never gets played. Well, then that leans them information to do some balance changes, but we would still be able to showcase what the game has to offer in a competitive setting, and I think that's just like more cool. It also provides specialization and flexibility for players. Like, you can specialize in a class, clearly everybody does that anyways, but also it'll allow for people to be flexible. And I think that having like a light class lock allows for flexibility too, because if double pyro is a thing, then you got to have two people that can play pyro. So I want to see something like that eventually, obviously. Thoughts?
Ooh. Yeah, it'd be really interesting, because I feel like if you ever were to double up on classes, you'd always have two conduits, just because conduits will be able to lock down a zone really well. So, and I hate conduits, so I'm down.
I just I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there for anybody that doesn't know. I'm gonna give the context. It's your boy Ross and I are building a team. Doesn't matter, not the point. The context that I'm bringing to the table is that we intend to go into Dominion matches seriously and ranked. I refuse to be the first team to pull out double classes. We're not gonna do it, probably.
I think it should just I think it should be like, yo, if you're comp and you're don't class lock it.
I think if you're a 5 stack, we should GA it 100%. Because if you're not a 5 stack, then you don't really get to control that anyways, because they may throw you two Tox players. But
I don't. That's fine.
I'm personally not going to be the person that the rest of the community goes, hey, have you seen Krashy's team running around 3 conduits? I'm not going to be that guy. I refuse to be that guy. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's competitive. I mean, obviously, we don't know yet. I'm being a little heavy-handed on this opinion, but that's just where I'm at personally. I'm not going to be that guy. So
my thing is, like, from what we've seen when class lock was not a thing, when people are running multiple classes and they are playing as a unit, it is annoying. It is annoying. It's not fun. It's lackluster gameplay. It's just like spam this L at one time and it's hard to deal with. And that's with anything, even if it's Tox, if it's fire, like four people running conflag can get really annoying very fast. Like, I mean, it's just like anything of that nature with multiple classes is just, it's annoying to deal with. And I think, like you said, the whole point of highlighting Spellbreak gameplay which is really cool right now, is like we only have 6 classes you can choose from. So like, if we have a class lock, you see 5 of them every game, and like even if one class is bad, or technically like one of those classes is going to be on the lower end of the spectrum, compared to the others that they're playing with. So you get to see how that lower tier class is used and who that team decides to put on that lower class, because they feel like they may have more mechanical ability, or they may have a greater sense of how to use it, or make it more effective at what it's capable to do. And I think Spellbreak's balancing would also be very interesting, because you can see how those things are balanced or changed, or even that they serve a purpose that we didn't initially think that they were used for. So I don't know. I think it really highlights the game if we go for a class lock. But I'm also with the soft class lock as well.
So I'm looking at what Shasta said in chat. He said, yeah, class lock will 100% be a thing in the future. I literally think that we're going to inevitably get something. I think that this first chapter, like similar to what Megaverse said about that image that we got where it had the word beta phase for it, I think that should be the entire community's outlook on chapter 2 leagues. We should all be looking at leagues as this is the first iteration. Try not to be over emotional about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, get hyped, get upset, get pissed, do your thing, but don't be like, these devs fucking suck. They didn't like. Let's be realistic about where we are. I think that's important. Let's be realistic. Let's provide that feedback, and we'll go into the future with them making the game better. That's what this is all about, bro. Me and Ross have been talking a lot lately. Don't clip that, you piece of shit. Me and I was literally about to talk about Ross, and then my man's the one throwing me under the bus. Me and Ross have been talking a lot about really like what we think about this game and the longevity of it and stuff. And dude, I see this game a year from now being like where I want it to be now. Obviously that's like, we got to wait because they have to put that iteration and they got to get more data, get more players. But I've always said this, and I'll say it 1,000 times if I have to. Every time they really put in work and they come out with an update, a big update, it's always good. I'm almost always happy with it. So I'm pretty fired up about chapter 2. I don't think there's any way that chapter 2, no, I'll take that back. I think that the only way they mess up Chapter 2 is if the meta gets stale and they don't find a way to change things. Like if it gets hard stale real fast and it sucks too, I actually think that leagues will alleviate some of that issue, because really think about it, a stale meta with literally no reason to play is already kind of bad. But I think that leagues will alleviate some of that tension. But I do think that like Chapter 2 is like looking pretty clean, pretty crisp, and yeah, I think it's also maybe a topic that we can dive into. I personally think this is the beginning of the end for BR. I think BR is done.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah.
BR,
It's just
yeah,
like-
no, it's dead.
Yep.
This is like, it's got one foot in the grave at this point.
So
They're
Yeah.
building all these systems to basically just phase it out.
So let's Tfal, I want to start with you specifically. Beginning of the end for BR, we all basically just agreed. What do you think about that? Are you comfortable with it? Are you happy about it? Is it bittersweet? Like, what do you think? You've been playing this game for what, like almost 2 years, year and a half, something like that?
I'm happy with it. Like my background in games is hero shooters, not BR. Like Team Fortress 2, Planet Side, Dirty Bomb.
Oh, Dirty Bomb was so
Overwatch.
good. The game was ruined by hackers.
Yeah.
God, that game
And
was
then-
so underrated and so good.
I played Fortnite when it came out, but I wasn't crazy for it. Like I would just like grind it with my IRLs, but I wouldn't play it competitively. And then I'd just play Spellbreak, and that's where I'd really learned how to play BR.
So
But
Chaos, you were kind of off for this the last little quick point. I'm going to throw it to you. We're kind of viewing this as the beginning of the end for BR. How does that make you feel? Do you agree with that? Are you happy about
I'm
it?
fine. I'm very happy about it. I think BR is not really competitive at all. I feel like we try to make it competitive because of like what people like to see as a spectator, and I feel like it's been such a BR craze because of Fortnite, Pop Up, PUBG, H1, all of that kind of like that genre just became really popular gaming. So we try to make it competitive, but ultimately I think everybody that plays BR competitive, no matter what game they played in, I feel like they understand that's not the best competitive venue. So it being pushed away, and you know the hope I have is that customs are around the corner and we'll start to see some tournaments kind of start to pop up. You know, alternate gaming organizations or tournament websites start to get involved, and then we kind of start to see like a true competitive scene starting to cement themselves as we like go forward. So I don't know,
Bro, give us customs, and we can get Ryan involved with CMG or UMG.
Yeah, like tomorrow, like
Yeah.
literally, like if they give me customs, like I'm calling Ryan like tomorrow, and like it will be there. Like CMG, like will be up and running for Spellbreak. Like I don't think it would be a problem.
For,
So,
I was gonna say, for context, CMG is like a wager kind of like back and forth competitive platform, and Ryan is a like a old guy, like a friend of ours from Gears that we know that works at UMG, which is a similar platform.
Yeah.
So if they give us the tools to build tournaments will come. Like it'll come to the game, and we can make that happen. Like as a community, we can have that demand to make that happen. So I'm gonna just go ahead and round table us because I want to end on this particular note. Megaverse, the end of BR. Give me your unfiltered thoughts.
I'm excited for it. I spent most of my gaming history playing League of Legends, which was the 5v5 MOBA. So it'll be interesting to apply stuff that I've learned from League to Dominion, which I feel will be better translated than to a BR. So I'm excited. I don't really like BRs anyways.
We have a few questions in chat that I want to get to, but I want to get through this wrapped up point, and then I'll jump to y'all. So stick with us. Jellied, how do you feel the end of BR? I'm obviously this is a pretty I'm throwing this opinion out there, like saying it that way, but it feels like this could be the end of BR. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I get this the similar feeling. I'm really excited. I'm not a huge fan of BR. I'll play them because it's what's around to play. But I think that the opportunities that you get from having a more structured mode and the the actual gameplay when you're playing it, not just watching it, is so much more deep when you have like objectives, when you have less RNG, all these things that we all know about. So yeah, it's super exciting, and I couldn't be more excited to talk about the idea that we're not going to have BR in this game anymore.
So, the Crow Lord on Reddit basically put out a poll asking about how people feel about BR, and I put my summary about how I feel about BR, and I actually think it's perfect for me to go ahead and read here because it defines how I'm feeling about this almost exactly. So this is what I said. I feel like this is the perfect place for me to drop my personal thoughts on Battle Royale with Spellbreak. Some context, I'm a massive BR fan. I've probably played about just every BR you can think of, spanning back to H1Z1 and Arma 2 BR mods. I was insanely into PUBG and H1 back in the day, eventually found my home on Fortnite. I said, said, also, Realm Royale was super cool, but I felt like the game was vastly underdeveloped for my liking. The issue with BRs is that they come with a volley of intrinsic issues that are very hard to solve, on top of them being a very demanding game mode to play. Lots of time required, lots of players required, heavy RNG factors, third parties, etc. I think Battle Royale as a genre is great, but genre fatigue has definitely started to settle in within the gaming industry at large, and we're also starting to see less and less successful BRs, very similarly to what we saw a handful of years back with MOBAs. It's 100% understandable for developers to chase trends, but the reality is that game development, especially free-to-play games as a service, can be extremely competitive. I think Spellbreak missed its window to make a massive impact on the genre, but luckily for Spellbreak, the gameplay and combat are just way too good to not be thrust into something else, something more accessible, something that shows off the best parts of the game. I like BR, I'll play it some, but my full attention is on Leagues and Dominion. IMO, Dominion, and games like that, or game modes like it, are going to be the future of Spellbreak. So I think that realistically, had Spellbreak like come out in its current form like 3 years ago, honestly, this could be one of the bigger BRs, but we're not there. That's not what happened. And I think that this I think that we're staring down the barrel of the gun, like looking at the future of what this game is going to be. And it may not even be Dominion. That's the crazy thing. They could come out with the next cool team game mode that might just be way better. I don't know. But I think that this is clearly that one foot in the door opening to show us what this game can be. And I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I think they're finally catching up to the industry at large, at least in terms of like projected game modes and stuff, because I don't know if you guys have heard, Apex is getting a arena mode in the coming months. Yeah, and so I think that like I was back in alpha was when I got on this game for the first time, and the promise of it was right when all these other BRs were starting to like pick up steam, and the full release was obviously about 2 years too late for that that rolling excitement that was coming with the genre. But I think that we're in the right time to be getting a mode like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So a couple of questions that I saw was like, do you think, King Kaizen said, do you think that Dominion has enough to satisfy casuals? I think that because at the game mode's core, it's just a domination and it's a respawn mode. That was the number one keynote they had to hit, which is why I wasn't expecting an arena mode. Is that I think that does exactly that, right? Anybody can understand Dominion. Anybody. Are you going to master it? Are you going to have the perfect strategy and team comps and things to make it happen? No, probably not. But anyone can get a group of 5 together and play Dominion and know what's going on and respawn and have fun with the combat. So I personally think that Dominion is like it's kind of perfect for casuals.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, is that Tfal? I feel like it's Tfal.
Yeah, I'm completely muted on everything, so it's not me.
No, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It was just like some random ambient noise. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about it. Like I think that like people are going to be able to jump into the game and just play. Like I've been trying to put myself in the mindset of someone like Michael Reeves, because he really liked this game. He likes the game a lot, and then but he doesn't care about like BR. You know what I mean? Like he liked the shit that you could do. He liked like the blowing things up and flying around and stuff. And like, bro, you can jump into Dominion and pick whatever build you want and have a good time. You can do that, yeah. You can wind offhand with Frost. Like you can run invis and flank, and like you can do whatever you want and have fun. Is it going to be how you win the mode? Probably not, but that doesn't matter. We don't need the most competitive game in the world. We need a successful casual game. And it just so happens that I'm looking at Dominion and I'm like, dude, I see a lot of competitive nature in this game mode on top of the fact that you can just jump in and have fun. So
that's what it needs to have. But I feel like that is like that's what's great. Like that's what I really get the feel of. I'm like, it satisfies the casual, like respawn, cap a hill, have fun, fly around, do whatever you want. But however, when it gets comp, like it can get really nitty gritty when 2 1s, 3 2s, 4 1 pushes, someone hold their one on this hill, it's like purple sniping from hill to hill. And then who has range? Like it just gets really in depth. Not to go into all those points, but like to really just say like on the surface, really digestible for casual. At a top tier, it can work for competitive if we wanted to. So I don't know. I'm really happy, and like I really am. I think they exceeded the expectation of what I thought they were capable of. So,
same. I think the minute that they brought up the merchant, I was like, wait, what? Like. Wait, we got to think about like and yeah, there's RNG involved, which I'm actually going to talk about that, the system of RNG a little bit. It doesn't seem bad, and after hearing Dan talk about it more on Jesse's stream, it really doesn't seem bad. My biggest worry was the stats that we're starting in with, except for armor, except for like the lack of belt, is it's all rare, right? Like it's all the rare values. So you're gonna have rare mana and rare move speed, I think is that the other one? Yeah.
Well, no, because they said we had 70 mana, which is actually uncommon, but they said it's like a rare amulet, but it's actually an uncommon amulet.
Whatever. It's 70. I didn't actually care. I was just kind of simplify it because I didn't remember the number. So things. But my biggest fear, this was like when I started looking at the system and I started looking at the game mode, I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. This is gonna really suck. Is how long could you not will it happen, but how long could it happen where you just get so unlucky that you go like more than halfway through the game with no armor? And Dan answered my question with flying colors, and I was very excited about it. Here's how the system works. I'm going to butcher this, so I'm not even going to pretend like I'm going to get it 100% right. The boons, so I'm going to clarify terms too, because I think that this is all very new to us and we're not good with terms. You have a boon gem, right? The gem is what you need to spend. Like you have to have a gem to go to the merchant to spend it. When you get exiled, if you don't have a gem, the game gives you one. If you stay alive, you have to do damage to get a gem. So that's a boon gem. I'm just talking terminology. Sorry to treat everybody like children. I feel like I have to class is in session right now. So when you get to the shop, you get 3 options. Those options, those are boons. So you use a gem to get 3 boon options, and then you pick a boon. So these boon options, the first time you visit a shop, it'll be like a mix between like gauntlet upgrade, an offhand gauntlet, and a rune. And I think it also has like a chance to be like a random gauntlet or a class upgrade. So it's going to be like an assortment of those. When you hit the shop the second time, you have, I think one of those options is a blessing too. Sorry, I'm butchering this like I said I was going to, but I'm getting to the point that's very concrete that matters. In the second one, it's the same thing. You have like a chance for gauntlets, you have a chance for runes, and you have a chance for like an offhand or a blessing, right? So you can hit the shop and like 2 times and not get armor, right? Like that sucks. Like what? Wow, how many times is this going to happen? When you hit the shop the third time, all 3 boons are blessings. So like you're guaranteed to get armor. You are going to get armor. You may not get as lucky as somebody else who got it on their first roll up or their second roll up, but you're going to get it. And so that system, I was so worried that, dude, like what if I got unlucky every single time? I only got 3 rerolls the whole game. I'm just never going to have armor. It seems like they clearly planned for that. So that was good to me for me to hear that, because I was really worried about that.
Yeah, I'm going to need to talk to TFT players to learn when I should reroll.
What's really cool is like I think the fact that there seems with that system, what I like about that, there seems to be an early, a mid, and a late game, you know? And I feel like that RNG at the beginning allows it to be very like if you're not, for example, if you're maybe not the strongest team on your feet, you may be able to take control more of early game while people don't have full loadouts, you know, whereas mid game you might start to see the turn of the tide a little bit, and then late game a possible another turn of the tide because the gauntlets start getting better or your loot is completely set and everybody's kind of got what they need. But I feel like that literally gives us 3 parts of the game that we're looking for, right? Like, because like this early game where nobody has anything, like you're kind of just like trying to scramble for what you want, trying to get maybe even like I don't know if camp spawn immediately, whatever the case may be, but you have a different objectives as the game carried until you get your full loadout. So we're like, okay, now we're fully in the thick of the tide. And I think that's really cool. Like that's a depth that we have never seen before in Spellbreak, you know? Something that's starts off slow, gets better, and then like you know you're fully into the swing of things. So I don't know. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think like no armor fights being like a thing that actually happens more often than not is going to be interesting too, because right now, you know, you don't really want to take that fight. You want to guarantee that you stay alive, but that doesn't really matter as much. Like you got to go for that neutral point off spawn. You're not going to just want to give it to him for free. But guess what? Like if someone's running, dude, I've been thinking about this for a bit now. If someone's running Inspired and they have a Frost Gauntlet, let's say they're a Frostborn with Inspired, can you just like almost damn near one-shot someone like right out of the gate? Because you're going to have like...
I bet you can.
I bet you can. I bet you can literally just pop them and boom, one-shot, they're dead. So that's like, there's even even like going to be things that are like super strong early game that'll scale down into being more balanced, and there's going to be like maybe you play it a certain way because you don't have armor. One thing that I got really excited about was seeing how armor works in this mode. I think that Tough and Vigor are really strong. I think that Tough and Vigor are going to be very strong. It's an additional 25 armor at max scrolls 10 to start, and it's an additional 50 health at max scrolls, and I forget what it is to start, 15 or something.
20.
It's 20 to start. Yeah, like that's 20 health, man, right out of the gate. I mean, that's not a huge amount, but we're all going to have common gauntlets going up against each other and stuff too, so pretty cool.
I think
Yeah.
it's 20, 30, 35, 50. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited to get my hands on it. It gets me more excited the more we talk about it, because it just seems like there's so much to figure out and so much to experiment, and there's so much to see how we want to deal with it. Because I think at first, like, playing it against like anyone is gonna be like, oh, cool, but like when I get to play it against like someone else that I'm confident in their ability as well, I want to see what they decide to do versus what we decide to do. It's starting to see a meta shape up and how certain parts of the game feel versus how other parts of the game feel. Like I don't know. I can already see
Yeah,
myself
that's
being a weak early game player. But go ahead.
yeah, that's something I brought up with Krashy a couple of times before. Is that like so far everything we've seen is how the devs like imagine that players are going to be playing the game. We don't really know how this is actually going to shake out when we get comp players on it, when we get upper level like near pro players like actually messing with these systems and interacting with all these different new elements. So it's going to be a totally different experience.
I'm willing to bet, and maybe call me, maybe I'm putting my tinfoil hat on here, but I'm willing to bet that they developed a healthy amount of Dominion on their side so they can make changes to it. I'm willing to bet they did. Like maybe the NPCs need to drop more stuff, or not, they're dropping too much, or maybe they got it. You know what I mean? I'm willing to bet that there's some like variable change that they're ready to make, because they know they don't know everything either. You know what I mean? Like no developer
Yeah.
can make something and be the best at it. That just doesn't happen. So that's going to be cool. I want to answer J-Rose because he asked, do we know if the enemy team will get a point if we fracture or die to the storm? And also, do we know if we get a boon if we fracture or die to storm? So they did make the distinction that you'll only get a boon if you're exiled by an enemy player. They made that distinction in the post. As for getting a point, I'm sure it'll work just like Clash does, where like if you self-exile or like exile to like some kind of like random force, then they'll probably get a point out of it. Yeah, that would be my guess anyways. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah. Also just another random thing, because I don't know if everybody knows this, if you haven't like paid as much attention as I have, because I've been reading everything like 3 to 5 times over. You can only carry 3 boons max. So like if y'all are stomping and you're just building boons, like like recalling is going to be necessary, because they're going to be gaining ground on strength on you. So you're going to want to recall. But yeah, you can carry up to 3 boons and then go back and spend them and get your upgrades. Also,
Do you know who we started the game with?
I don't think you start. I'm assuming you. So I don't think you start with any, or you start with 2. But I think it's the same thing, right? Like we know we start the game with an offhand and a rune, so that either means we start with 2 and they make us spend them, or we start with none and they just give us the items. So probably you start with 2. I would guess that just makes more sense to keep everything nice and consistent.
That would be cool.
But I mean, we know for sure that you start with a full loadout. It just may not be the loadout you want, but yeah.
So another thing is like, if say for instance you're stomping, right, and like the other team's coming back and you're failing to recall, like that's another, like, I don't know, I'm like excited about these layers of depth that are not like very clear cut, but they're cool. Like, I'm like, if you have 3 boons and you don't recall, you're now like putting yourself at a part where they might come back stronger. You might give another kill, and then they may be able to take more hill control. Where you had 3 boons, now you don't earn another one when you die. Like you have these things that like are going to be very important to make sure that you're hitting on nice power spike and making sure you're continuing to get stronger. So like, I mean, like it to me, I really think like this game mode is really loaded. And I think I said that, even though I said it's 99, I was like, it's gonna be 99, but like the game was gonna be fire. And I think like I'm really impressed like how it looks like it can go. Now, like you said, there can be other game modes that come out that highlight this, but I really think I'm really excited for what we have right now. And then being that it's gonna be the only ranked thing, I feel like everyone that it's gonna wants to try to push themselves to be like a competitive player, or however they want to say it, or like some type of form of competition, you're looking for it in rank. So you're gonna start to see like 5 teams become very popular really fast.
Yeah. So I think that like there are already a couple things that I like my brain has like sent me into the future and I'm trying to get ready for. And like one of the things I want to get ready for is knowing the exact amount of time it's going to take from when I start my recall to when I can touch down, so I can budget that. I know exactly when I need to recall and try to do it. One of the things I want to do is know for the different maps how much time it's going to take depending on what rune I'm trying to run to go from point A to point B. Obviously, you know, like I'm just going to say A and B because I don't know where they are and I don't feel like just randomly using symbols. So like there's that nuance. There's so much nuance in this mode. Do I step off of my point really quickly and go kill a camp to see if I can get a scroll? If I do get that body scroll that my teammate that's running athletic needs, should I give it to him right away? Do I manage that? You know, do we pump the thirsty scrolls into the thirsty player, or the gilded scrolls into the player that can upgrade all their gear and get to legendary gear really fast and have some fat numbers on their gear? Like there's so much nuance, and that's going to come down to team play and like having a really strong amount of game sense for this new mode. Like, and again, at the same time, we're going to have people that are just like willy-nilly using flight rune, flying around in casuals. And I think that that's so cool. Like you have that, there's so much depth and teamwork. And even some of the devs probably know how much depth and teamwork is to this game, but like they can't do it. You know what I mean? Like they can't, they don't have that level of play and even like that level of like full understanding of the game. And like, bro, my brain, like I'm not saying I'm a big brain player, but I'm already just thinking about so much, and it's like that math meme where I'm like I'm seeing all the numbers, and I'm so ready to just test everything. And that comes down to different maps too. We have 4 maps. Like it's not a ton of maps, and they're all basically like repurposed POIs. But the likelihood that they start like, okay, they're gonna gauge interest in the mode based on player feedback and how much we like the mode. And then like let's say a week, or let's say like 2 weeks to a month into the chapter, they see that we love the mode. Let's say hypothetically we all love it. It's amazing. It's a knockout. Boom, they start production on more original maps for the mode. You know what I mean? They can just make whatever they want. And I think that that's super cool too. Like we're literally we're looking at the glass, and behind the glass is our future. And I'm really hyped about that. Oh yeah, I missed that question. There's a question: if you have a rank on NA and you change to EU to start playing there, rank will stay, or you start from bronze? I think that it could be either which way. I think it's just a matter of design choice from Proletariat. I don't think anybody's asked that question to them, so we don't really have a concrete answer, but I could see a case for them resetting your rank per region, but I could also see it like not mattering that much, and maybe they'll just let us like free flow between servers. I think I would prefer free flowing between servers with your set rank for now, but like maybe as the game grows more and more they wouldn't do that. I don't really know. It just depends on what they decided. I think the same question's been asked to me on YouTube comments about crossplay. Like if I swap crossplay on and off, am I going to have my same rank? It's like, yeah, I bet you will, because like why would they change it? Like I don't think that they would have any reason to do that. So we'll see what that looks like whenever we get our hands on it. So the amount of crowns you get doesn't scale based on the rating of your opponents. Sounds like high-rated players can queue at like 4 a.m. for easier fights, less easier rating. I mean, it depends on who's playing, right? I also think that this mode still does have matchmaking to it. We don't know how tight the matchmaking is. Because, okay, so they did talk about like a person in like a high rank queuing with someone in a low rank. It's essentially going to create like an average, right? And then it's going to try to put you in a game that has a similar average. So... Yeah. I'm gonna bullshit here because I don't know how their matchmaking works, but let's say I'm gonna give a random value to Diamond 10. Diamond 10 is 10,000, and I queue up. It's gonna try to put me in a 10,000 game, right? Because I'm the only person, like 10,000 value. I'm not talking about crowns. I'm just giving a hypothetical number. Now, if I play with I'm Diamond, which is 10,000, and I play with someone who's Silver, which is like 2,000, it's gonna add those and create an average of what's that, 6,000? So then it tries to put me close. It tries to put the two of us close to a 6,000 average game. Again, super hypothetical numbers. Don't think about them too much. But I think that that's what the matchmaking is going to try to do. So like even if we're playing like super late at night, like it should try to still build the best game possible. This all comes down to player density and how much the matchmaking is working the way that it should, and what iteration of matchmaking. Like these are all questions that are going to be answered in time. So it's going to be interesting.
My thing is also like if those players, like say for instance, like you're a high rated player, like quote unquote, right, and you're queuing at 4 a.m. for easier fights and easier rating, you're like what we understand how the grind is. The grind is gonna be very tough, so you're gonna have to play a lot to try to clear a lot of ground. So my thing is, if you play at 4M, you get a couple wins, you go on a 10-game win streak, and you get on them and during the day, and you can't win a freaking single game. You're probably gonna lose all that progress you did anyway. So it's like it kind of just balances out anyway. Like
Yeah, I like that. I like that perspective too. And if you listen to me, man, if you're the type of person that hard sets a limit on yourself to only play at 4 a.m., well then shit, you deserve it.
Yeah,
you deserve it.
And then you're probably not. You're probably gonna take so long to get there.
Exactly.
Too, so it's like, like it doesn't even matter.
My man,
really
my man's gonna step in plat 10 on the last day of chapter 2.
Like the chapter, right?
Like, hell yeah, I did it. So yeah, I definitely don't think we'll have to worry about that too much. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Is Spellbreak bigger than Gears? I feel like Rank will just fuck because of the size of the player base. No, I don't think Spellbreak's bigger than Gears. I think Gears I think Gears is way bigger than Spellbreak.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of these questions that we have to just like wait and see how everything feels whenever you play it out and what the size of the player base is, because it's no secret that the more dense a player base, the better the ranked mode's going to work. I don't think that not having ranked is a good option either, though, right? Like having ranked is also a selling point to players that want a game that has ranked. So I think that we're living in the in between of what the game could be, what it should be, and what it is. Like we're all just like kind of experiencing the growth with the game. So I think that that's one thing that we all have to like be ready for, is like, yeah, the matchmaking's probably not going to be perfect, and they're going to have to make some changes to it, and they're going to have to feel that out and keep their eyes on it, just like we'll have to be ready to give that feedback. Does Fellowship and Chrono work, or is that not considered healing? No, I definitely think it works. I'm pretty positive that works together.
Yeah, I mean, probably does. Like, it says any healing, any form of healing. So when you heal from Chrono, you probably do heal your team.
It
maybe?
doesn't count. Chrono counts as setting your health. It does not proc.
I was gonna say it depends on how it's worded, so maybe not.
Okay.
If maybe it says yeah, because if it doesn't say heals you back to your original state, if it says sets you back, then no, I would assume that that's the variable difference, right? So
Chrono sets health.
All right, so yeah, even Marty said the same thing, so it's setting, so I guess not. Damn, sets your health. That would have been cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually think Fellowship's going to be that good. I don't think Thirsty's going to be that good.
I think Fellowship's going to be dog water. I
think that I can only see a scenario where maybe, and this is such a weird hypothetical to make, maybe a Stone Shaper runs it, but at that point you could just run something better. So
tough meta, 100%.
I think tough is insane. I think tough is insane.
I think Runic tough. Like I really think I know Runic's forward, but like I just think Runic tough. Like
Runic tough
ability is gonna be key. Yeah, I think it's just gonna be super Runic meta. That's just really what we're looking for. That's it.
Yeah, I have a handful of builds that I already have my eyes on. There's some 6-point builds that I think are going to be super meta. Like not even 7-pointers. I also haven't seen a single other person say anything about Ambi, and that hurts me because I actually think Chapter 2 Ambi is going to be lit. But we'll see what that turns out to be. Or maybe
I'm not. Isn't Ambi 4 points?
Yeah.
I never no shot.
Y'all are crazy, dude. I'm gonna shit on you with Ambi. You're gonna be pissed.
I would just choose Wellspring because it's body now, right?
Right.
Wellspring? Oh yeah.
Wellspring is a equal damage mod, and it basically does the same thing. Instead of having bonus mana, it makes you recharge mana faster.
I know Ross has to be like, "Yo, Krashy, why do you say these things? Like, why do you say these things?"
It's because he knows. He knows. It's what it is. What it is.
Be a Rebirth gamer.
What it is I'll talk about Rebirth too. What it is that Ross carries me, so he's laughing because he's like, this motherfucker can't tell. He can't back that shit up. He can't back that shit up. He's gonna, my ass is gonna be working overtime. I got Ross sweating. He's not even playing the game right now.
It's going to the Megaverse, so it's kind of fair.
No, Rebirth, man. I'm glad you brought that up because I hadn't thought to talk about it. It's not nearly as bad as it would be in BR. Like I actually think Rebirth will be usable. Do I think it'll be meta? Probably not, but I have a Rebirth build I'm already looking to play. Should I leak it?
Boy.
Should I leak it?
Sure, bro. Go crazy.
I'm gonna play Rebirth Vigor. That's a 7-point build. I'm gonna have more health. It's harder to kill me out of the gate. And even when you do, I'll just back up and my teammates will block for me.
Block for you, good one. Sounds like a good job for Chris Kyle.
I'm in there, bro.
Sniper, right?
I'm in there, bro.
All right, sure.
Everybody's sleeping on intelligent.
Dude, I swear. Like,
I don't think a single person in the game is sleeping on intelligent. Intelligent's nuts.
Yeah.
There's some 6-point builds that I think are going to be good with intelligent too. Like, because it's just better than some. Like, if you don't want the Spellslinger or the Curious, then intelligent's a great option. So I definitely think you can pull that off. So,
I
Damn,
think
that was gonna be
Foresight's
my
gonna be
meme build.
bad.
No, that ain't. Foresight. Yeah, Foresight is
Foresight is
interesting.
bad.
So here's the thing. I think that Foresight. There's a problem with Foresight. I actually think that it's going to be good. I think it's going to be really good, but you can't control what map you go into. So I think on Himwood, like, look at Himwood, bro. Who the fuck needs Foresight on Himwood? You can see everything in the whole game.
Yeah.
So if I'm rolling a Foresight build and then I roll Himwood, I'm like, okay, well, that sucks. So I think that Foresight is not going to be as good as it actually is, but it will still be kind of good. It's still going to be kind of good.
Let me say this. So my thing with Foresight, right? I have five players to a team, bro. If I don't get a call out about a kid flanking, I'm gonna lose my mind. I have 4 teammates that can speak, bro. Foresight is if you have shit comms. Like Foresight's a crutch. If you play Foresight, it's because you just don't know how to call out properly.
Or what
You
if he
have
has
to be able to call.
invis?
It doesn't, bro.
It's
We
a
see
solo queue
invis.
meta.
Like what? I don't care.
Oh, Jelly, that's a nice take. Jelly said it's a solo queue meta.
Yeah.
I like that. You got to
Bro,
think
I'm
about
just
it, bro.
saying,
No, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I like
to me,
your
if you're
take
using
as well.
Foresight and you're a full team, like I just think you're crushing something, like, and I think it's not even that much of a, it's not that much value, and like
Yeah.
you still like, and then people will still have the Foresight and still be like, oh, there's three left for 2 right, one's pushing mid, like they have to get all that information out. So if you're like having someone that has good comms being able to say like Foresight's out, like I think you're still relying on them to talk it out. It's not like your whole team can see it, so it's like, yeah, I don't know, like. It's just like you can get more value out of it.
I forgot Tfal was here. My man's been quiet so long, dude.
Yeah, I think he might have stepped up and walked away.
My man's getting some food. He's playing around of hoops with some friends. Like, no, it's funny though, because like I mean, I'm definitely like one thing that I've been really thinking about for a while now, especially since having this discussion, is what your reaction is going to be when I shit on you with Foresight. Like that's definitely something that I'm looking at, because I really think.
Yo, bro, what do you think you are, Krashy? Like,
No.
Yo, when I pick you apart, bro, I want to see the dismay that you have, because like, bro, it's gonna be bad.
Listen,
bro. Like,
I'll say this
bad.
much because I love it. Somebody's clipping and shipping it. You're either clipping and shipping me your way or vice versa. We getting it. Like there's something right here,
down.
dude.
I'm down to do it, man. 'Cause, like,
You already know.
not
We're gonna
Nah, bro, listen.
Krashy to demote from like Diamond 2 all the way down
Easy
to Diamond
claps,
6.
like,
My
now
man's-
bad.
y'all are gonna
I'm
start
playing
once.
Megaverse in them again. Like,
You
you know,
might-
he's gonna go on Reddit and everything.
This game mode is dog shit. I keep facing it.
But then the one game he wins, you know? Like the one game he wins.
Yeah, right. The one
That's
where
what you
I'm
do
playing,
video.
like,
Hey,
when I'm
yo,
playing Stone
alright.
Shaper, Megaverse is playing Tempest. Like, yeah, that one game.
Hey, yo, Ross, I'm gonna need you to step up a few games there. You know what I'm saying? Shit. So I appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, no, that's gonna be it's gonna be fun. I actually don't think I'm gonna use Foresight as much as I thought, and then I saw the Himwood map and my mind was made up. Like, I don't think it's gonna be the worst talent in the game. Speaking of the worst talent in the game, does anybody want to try to? Thank you. I think Athletics probably gonna be pretty dog shit. But
Which one's that?
it's the one where when you read a body scroll, it upgrades your class level. So the thing is it was already like I don't think that's going to be very good in BR, but it could be in this game mode. It's especially not as good. That said, again, I'm going to throw this out there. You might see some Korean aggression, some Korean aggro like level of play where somebody gets that and they try to fly real hard and take as much of a lead early. Do I think it's 100% useless? No, not really. Do I think anybody seriously is going to take it? No, not really.
Just have your whole team playing athletic toxicologist.
I literally thought about the whole team playing athletic, but yeah, Korean and aggro. It's just, isn't that like a thing in like Dota? Aren't they like really aggressive? I think I remember hearing that term literally said like
in the league, but LPL is better. Like Chinese, it's really good. I have aggression.
Thoughts on Gilded? I think that Gilded is really good.
Yeah,
I don't think you're gonna
getting
see.
Ledge Giller is gonna be sick. Like, you know,
I
if
don't
you
think
can
you're
get
gonna
Ledge
see
Gear
like multiple people running it like on a team, but I think like maybe 1 or 2 people could run it. It really just depends on how. I think a lot of the talents are gonna come down to how your team wants to fight.
Yeah.
Because like I think that damage mod builds are going to be good for certain scenarios too, but I don't think you're going to have. I really would be very shocked to see a meta where like a whole team is running damage mods. I just don't think we're going to have that. Yeah, I
Personally, I'm very excited for Gilded. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I
think
am
that's
too.
gonna be that's gonna be crazy, especially with the way that the shop works. You just get all of the gear that you don't want out of the way, like super fast.
The cool thing
Just
too is
focus
that
on the blessings.
I was going to say the cool thing too. Yeah, you can focus on blessings, exactly. The cool part about Gilded is that one of the builds that you can fit Gilded in is Curious Tough Gilded. Like, we've already said that we know Curious is going to be good. We already think that Tough is going to be good, and now Gilded fits that build perfectly. I think that that's going to be a pretty solid build, and I think that you can run it on any class too. That's the cool thing.
Wasn't that exactly what Dan was running?
Yes, yes, it was. We also 2 other proletariat members, because it was 2 separate screenshots of 2 different perspectives, were running Runic, Tough, Vampiric. I'm 90% positive that's going to be one of the most popular builds in the game.
Yeah, Vampiric looks like it goes wacky, especially in this mode where you might not have a blessing early. Like, so I don't know. I think Vampiric goes kind of nutty.
Well, and just the fact that you don't down. So, like, health trading to stay alive as long as possible is hella valuable. Like, that's so insane.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you don't down. You just poof. You're exiled. So, some real Warzone like shit.
You're not gonna be looking for. Yeah, you're not gonna be looking for resets like as much as with Thirsty. I'm a really big Thirsty crutch because of BR, but like I don't think I'm gonna be running Thirsty as much in Dominion.
And again, I don't think you're always gonna have full like pots in your inventory too. I just don't.
Exactly.
I think that there will be. I definitely know. I know that there will be Thirsty Fellowship players. I don't even think they're gonna be super useless. I just don't really see it being like S tier meta either. Will it be useful? Sure, absolutely.
It's just so small.
It's just
it's
not
like 8
great.
meters or something. It's so small.
Yeah, I think the most damning part about Fellowship Thirsty is the fact that you have to like go and get the things first. You have to like manage that whole layer of trying to be the healer first before even being able to do it, and then being in the right positioning for it. So I really don't think we're going to see a ton of that. I think that it's cool it exists. The other thing about it too is like we can't only look at the game in the context of Dominion. Like BR is still technically a thing. I think that Thirsty Fellowship and BR would be really good. So
yeah, of course.
Does that really matter to any of us right now? No, not at all. But that's not the point. Like, you still technically have to think about that. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
How are you feeling about rosters and like as far as like players? Like, what are you looking for? Can you say you and Russ are looking for players? What are you looking for in your team? And
yeah, so do you want? The main thing that I'm looking for is I genuinely just like view myself as like the ultimate flex player. I'll play anything. I'll play any build. I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. I want to win. I specifically right now am really like hard searching for the right Tox player, which is, I think this is hilarious that like I don't remember who it was. I think it might have been Casper. Was like, "Yo, Krashy, you can have a hell of a time finding a Tox player after you done pissed us all off." So I was like, that's kind of funny. So I got to find the right Tox player. But in general, I just like, I mean, my thing is always comms, right? Like I need comms. Like I need someone that can listen to direction and can talk and is so secure in their own play that you can have me bitch at you about what you did. Like, and I don't mean bitch at you, right? Like, but I need you to be able to take it on your chin when someone says like, I really don't think that was the right decision. We need to change that.
Yeah,
and
that's hard to find. That's
it is.
Really,
yeah, there's a lot of discipline required with things like that. But the other thing about it too is that like we're not looking at tournaments right around the corner. So I think that there's plenty of time to just experiment and try things out. And all the early ranks too. The early ranks are basically just experimentation, like finding out what works, like feeling out the game. And then as we get deeper and deeper, it's going to be like, okay, look, this roster, the way that we're doing it, the way that we're doing things has not beat Kaos and them once. Like we got to change something.
Damn right, it hasn't been as once.
And then Ross and them kick me, and I'm fucked. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. Probably. It is what it is. So, but no, seriously, I think like roster wise, I will say this without getting too deep into it. I was expecting a very specific super team in NA to form.
Let's talk about it.
So my thought, like I'm just dead ass. I legitimately thought that G3 UT was going to be a thing. I just like. Yeah. I thought that was going to be the NA super team.
Let's talk about it.
When the world needed the most, they vanished.
So, fun fact, like, without getting too much into it and trying to like, not tell what the team is or because I really don't want to speak about that, but I will say we tried to get that done, and it was kind of realized that three good people on one team, 3 good people on that one team. We didn't want to leave one person out, right? So that was like kind of the thought with that. However, we will say that Death is no longer on our team. So something happened with the talk. It didn't go that well. Death left. That's all I would say. Me and Megaverse have made plans with other players to see how it feels and see where it's gonna go. But yeah, like that's how that went. So we ended up trying not to snake one player, and then 2 players got fucked, and that's kind of me and Megaverse. So yeah, that's where we're at right now with the super team.
I wouldn't say fuck. Because I am just better than all 4 of mine.
Oh no.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You also ignite. You ignite a flame. Like I feel like me and Death are mad cool. We're homies, but like it's I hate death. Like, you know what I mean? I'm really
You have
like
to hate death right now.
yeah, exactly. I hate death like completely. Like respectfully, of course. You know, like I hate him in the competitive standpoint. Like I understand what he's going for. I understand what he wants to do, but I feel like by him leaving and saying you feel like you can't beat these people, and that's fine. Like that's how you feel, and that's what you want to be. I'm also on the playing field. I want people that are excited to play with me, that value what you're gonna get out of this team. And you're gonna value with like what we're gonna bring to the atmosphere. And I feel like you have undervalued me in Megaverse, so I plan to respond to that on the playing field. So just let that be that.
I love it. So Goji asked, "What team did Death join?" I don't think we have any like official statement on that. More so just to say that he's not playing with y'all would probably be the most appropriate thing to leave it on. Yeah, I don't know if like I said, I don't know if Tfal's around.
Tfal, do you want to respond to that? I don't think you don't have to.
Yeah.
I legitimately don't think he's here, but that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a nice little logo. That's cool. He looks nice, and he's doing his thing over there.
Pretty clean, right?
I do think that like the team dynamic, I'll just speak for myself personally, it's really interesting because me and Ross don't have a lot of weight behind us, but the literal one event that we did, we made finals and got 8th, and we were 1 point under 7th, which was the SK duo. So I think that like our player stock as players is like much lower than it deserves to be, and I'm not saying this based on experience with people like telling me no to go fuck off and like they don't want to play with me or anything. I just think naturally our names are not as much in the conversation as they probably deserve to be, and that's easily fixed to me. Like that's easily fixed. I'm gonna stomp through Dominion and it's gonna be like, oh shit, I thought this guy was a content creator launch player, like they call me in Discord, and think I don't see it. But that's a topic for another day. I'm a launch player, content creator that plays Conduit and complains about talks, and people are gonna find out real quickly what I can do. So that's gonna be fun.
You also have clickbait thumbnails.
Oh yeah, I have clickbait thumbnails. I'm a piece of shit self promoter. Like, how dare I?
Yo, was that Tfal?
Yeah, Tfal, did you say something?
Yeah.
So how was your food? How was your shower? How was
Yeah, that was the thing.
like did you like, play a few rounds of basketball? Like what's up, bro?
I might have just yeah.
Yeah. Well, he missed my whole spiel about the super team comment, but I mean, yeah, unfortunate, I can say.
And I heard the Mega's comment.
Oh,
You did. You better have.
How do you feel about that whole super team like talk? Without saying too much, I guess like.
I don't even know if Kamsky wants to play the game at this point.
I literally heard Kamsky say that he I don't know if he said he did or was going to tell y'all to look for a 5th. Because he was like, I might just play this game for stream content. Like, I don't know if he's interested in Dominion at all. Not to put words in his mouth, but like that's
not getting like good rewards for hitting legend.
That to me, that would be the funniest thing in the world. Like if that happens, bro, like Pepe laughs just in my chat all day.
Wait,
like,
what happened?
If Kamsky says he doesn't want to play.
I mean, I was just with Elpa and Kamsky, and they're just like, yeah, we're gonna expand. I'm like, sure. I'm just here. I'm a sideline player.
That's how the whole UT plays it. That's their like whole MO. Like
dude,
they
you're
all
just
don't care.
Listen, Tfal, you're just a hard stuck conduit, bro. Like you need to get used to it and just like deal with it in your own internalized way.
Only conduit, not even my pirate. Damn.
No,
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think he's really truly the flex player of the game. Like Tfal literally plays everything besides Stone Shaper. Well, you play a little bit of Stone Shaper too. Like you have fun on that class too.
No,
so.
he's too. I'm more than double his age. I'm taking that title. Like you can't.
Yeah, no shot. Bro.
I'm not
he's
even
like
double his age.
age.
I'm not even double his age. No, if I actually am gonna gas myself up. I think I'm one of the most flexible players in the game. I'll play anything and I'll be better than at least half the players that play their specific role. Like I don't know. At least
I'm
half.
thinking. I will say that like Tfal's there, Camsucks is there, Kamsky is there. I think I also like I know this is like a sleeper one, but like I think Marcus kind of plays a lot of everything and is really good at a lot of things. So
dude, if you're a content player, like if you're a content creator that's a comp player, like at least to some degree, you end up filling in that role. Like that's just like what happens.
Yeah,
because bro, could you imagine if every YouTube video was me playing a conduit? Like I'm boring. Like I can't get away with that unless the context is my tournament play and like my ranked play, because that is probably what I'm going to play. That's the other thing. Like when we're talking about like me and Ross building a team, bro, the door is wide open, because the only thing about about our team that needs to be said is that Ross mostly mains Frostborn, but even he's like flexible enough to lean out. But I will play anything, so that means I could go after good Stone Shapers, I could go after good Tox players, or I could just play it myself. Not to say that I think I'll be on the highest level of it, but I can easily grind it and put more time in it. So it's going to be really, really fun to see where we land. Again, I always say this. This has been something that I say all the time when it comes to rosters. I'm not in a hurry. So if you try out with us, you can't be hitting me up every day asking if it's like a solid thing. I'm not in a hurry. Like there's no tournaments. Like I don't have anything to really. If we win together, we'll probably keep playing together. If we lose together a considerable amount, then you can probably kick rocks with no socks on. So like I don't know, step on some Legos.
Bring the walls down on you, Krashy. But I mean, like not to gas myself up or anything, but I think I'm probably one of the least flexible players in the game. You know, like Fervor, Crutch, Gilded, 100%. Tough only, no way.
Tough
hard
only,
stuck,
bro.
hard stuck. Bronze.
Here's the thing.
Go
In order to be a good flex player, you have to be the most indecisive person ever.
High key. I really do agree with that. As much as that's like a stupid thing, I really do agree with that. Because that is why people like end up trying to main like Tfal was like, yeah, I can play Frostborn like mid tournament and like whatever, like bro, I it kind of works. Like yeah, like being undecisive really helps with that. Krashy is the most decisive flex player. I will say that.
I was gonna say that doesn't sound like me at all. Cause
yeah, it's not you. Cause I think you intentionally try these things. Like Tfal is literally like has a crisis. He's like, you know what, man, content sucks. I'm really gonna play Pyro today. And he's
no,
like,
I mean, yeah, I go after it with a
Ice is the
goal.
way to go.
So it's funny because like when me and Ross played the duo tournament, it was like we obviously knew there's options there, but I kept telling, like I said it over and over and over again, we have a game plan, we're sticking to the game plan. Yeah, I'm flexible, but we had a game plan. It was flexible by design. Like it was game plan by design, flexible by like necessity, right? Like we knew we were going into EU playing me on Stone Shaper. We knew that we were playing NA with me on Conduit. Like it was by design. So who is Jelly? Sounds like a nice boy. Jelly is the XCEL lead designer. I also don't know what to give your title for element stuff. You're just a designer, lead designer? I don't want to.
Yeah, no, Nico and I sort of like handle different things. He does the stream and I do the socials. That's kind of how it shakes out.
Yeah, Jellied is just our he's the bones, you know what I'm saying? Like you put this all together, like even this whole scene and everything is really 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 nice. Yeah. It's so crazy because me and you obviously we talked about the different design iterations for the overlay for the podcast, and you sent me this shit and I was like, damn bro, like what you had shown me originally, like this is like it was leagues above it because it was just new, it was its own, it was nice. I really like it. So yeah, you really put that together. So yeah, Jelly,
it's just sort of like happened at 3 a.m. yesterday. I was like, I need to work on this.
Yeah, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I almost kind of felt bad when you were sending me messages super late because I was like, oh dude, this fucking guy's still working on that. Like I was like, damn dude, like this man's putting in the work.
Genius,
it needed to happen, you know, it needed to happen.
Yeah. I like how Marcus said, or you have to not want to just spam Frostborn content, which is dude, it's straight facts.
Man.
It's definitely facts. I know that there's been games where like I'm trying really hard to target record a certain class, but it's like the serious lobbies are out and then I'm just getting dumped on because it's not my best class, or maybe I'm trying to like play a certain build or something, like, and I'm just doing my content thing and I'm just like, dude, this sucks. Like this, like give me unranked already, right? Because BR solos 23 plus is like sometimes it feels unranked and sometimes it feels like a damn scrim. So it's like it was kind of weird, but yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be I don't know. I just think that this whole new chapter, going into competitive thoughts and going into ranked and stuff, it all feels really good. I am interested to hear opinions about element, because I know I have a very specific opinion about like the state of element and where we're going. So what do y'all think about the current tournament landscape and what's available, what's not available? What do you think is going to happen, and what are kind of y'all's expectations for things?
I think they're going to be on hold for a bit. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think you start to slowly, like, I don't want to offend anyone, but I think this is slowly where elements utilization starts to dwindle a little bit. I could be wrong, but I just think that we are now in an area where we can't really do tournaments for Dominion because we don't have a spectator or anything. There has to be 5 players in it. So that's one thing. Number 2, it doesn't have a spectator or anything. Number 3 is we don't have customs for it. Number 4, no one's gonna really want to do BR tournaments because the interest is really shifted to Dominion, especially with leagues and ranked gonna be the main Dominion thing. So I think like the next step here is that if we don't get customs and an element isn't the main party to even run it, but with customs would come like things like we talked about UMG, even CMG, you know, other third-party arenas where we can get that, or Spellbreak and Proletariat themselves starting to run tournaments. Could they include people from Element to help do those things? Yes, they could. However, Element per se is, I think we're getting to that part where Element has played and done its role for the community, and we're starting to see that we'll move away from there eventually. Which isn't like a shit on Element. That Element's not gonna be able to do their job. I just think that we're gonna move into the era where Element doesn't have to. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tread lightly, but I'd have to disagree. I think that I don't know. I'm not as clued in as some other people, but I think that there's some things that are gonna be coming up shortly. So honestly, it's just like very ethereal right now. Nothing's very concrete, but I'm optimistic for the future of at least for Element. Maybe not necessarily Element VR, but Element in general. Yeah.
Mega, do you have any thoughts?
No, I feel like we've gone over a lot of stuff. We haven't really mentioned how they're obviously working on a spectator, because whenever someone asks, they say not on launch, not on the 3.0 launch. So it's obviously something they've already started working on. If they hadn't started working on it, they always give us the same like in the future whatever excuse, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't like maybe like even a few months, 3 to 4 months after like chapter 3 probably.
Mm-hmm. So my thought is that like I definitely think that the thing about like competitive games or just like versus games is that and I made a video talking about my perspective of competitive, and I think that it's really important that I push this point a little bit more, and whether or not, you know, it's adopted or accepted, it doesn't really matter. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinion, but I think that like we definitely need to recognize that like true competitive Spellbreak and like Spellbreak esports, if you want to lend that word to the game, it just doesn't really exist yet. It hasn't really existed. It's been a very long running community effort, and it's been so great for the game. I mean, I don't
100%.
think we would have probably half the serious level of players that we have if it wasn't for Element and for BR tournaments and the community effort that so many people put in. And I'm going to gas up Element again. When I came into the game and I did my first set of like interviews to be a caster for Element, I was floored. I was blown away as a caster, looking at something so sophisticated for a game so small and community ran. It literally blew me away. So I love the work that everybody at Element does, and how important and vital it was to the game's current state. What I think that we should be looking at right now is we should be looking to continue the narrative that competitive is very much so a core part of this game, and that what we want, they obviously know this. Again, it's more so about just like delivering that message, so that way Proletariat knows what to work on and what to build. And again, I think like Megaverse nailed it. Like I'm pretty sure they're already working on these things, and a lot of things that like including like a leaderboard, including like maybe a top limited rank. Like there are so many things that they're going to be working for, and we're looking at, you know, iteration number 1 of it. As for Element, I don't think that Element will ever just like fade away. I think that Element will continue to be, should be, and maybe even step on the gas on being the primary competitive community, right? Like it is now, maybe it's not just a tournament. I mean, it already was the community, but that's really like what it is now. This is where you go to find teammates. This is where you go to theorycraft and to hop into games. And when we get to certain ranks or we test some things out, it's where we go to do Dominion scrims, like Q sniping potentially if we can get it to work. This is where we go because we have a desire for competitive. And even if we don't have the tools that we need yet, it's like an inevitability. It's coming. I don't think it'll be long before we'll be running Element tournament. I say long. I don't think it'll be an impossibility in the future to run Element tournaments, to have like CMG, UMG, other tournament organizers involved. And I think that my whole thought process on competitive is that I almost kind of want our mentality to kind of slow down, pull back a little bit, recognize where we are, and also continue to have that same fire and passion for what we want, because that's how we deliver the message. And I think that we're in a really good spot for everything.
Yeah.
Even though we won't have tournaments for a while, I think that that's okay, because we're going to be busy grinding.
I think that's massively okay. I think like that's really, really good actually. I think that we can slow down, we can build rosters, people can switch, like, you know, play around with different teammates. They can, you know, build up these things, learn how to play the game mode, digest it, see who is good, see who's not. And, you know, I feel like I think even players will be like, you know, there'll be newer players that you'll see that haven't been talked about much in the conversation, because like as you said, certain people will solo queue, or even, you know, certain teams of 5 and they say like these 3 players are really good. Hey, you know what? Can we add Krashy and Ross to this, or like, or can we add Megaverse and Kaos to this, or can we just add Tfal to this, or like it's gonna be a lot of mixing and matching. I think that like that's really makes it digestible as far as trying to set the foundation for a competitive scene. And like you said, Element can continue in certain venues, and I think that if they can do that and they can master it off and pull it off. However, I think Element has. I think also my thing is that I'm thinking is, I would really be even happy to see those that have impacted Element in the way they did start to see like if there is something former esports, they connect themselves to other venues where they can make that like grow in a different way, or contribute to the esports venue that would be more so official when we get to that point. But
Mhm.
we're not there yet, and we're just like, we're still developing. We're but I think Element and like as I said, Element and Timmy Stack Souls has carried this game to where we are today, and those things cannot be like basically just diminished in any form or fashion. But I just think hopefully we're getting to a point where Element doesn't have to shelter all that responsibility, or if they do shelter that responsibility, they're being compensated for it in the right ways in the right venues through proletariat.
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
think that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jelly.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, internally, I don't think that anyone at Element is married to the idea of BR, or married to the idea of only organizing BR tournaments. Like, I think it's all predicated on the idea that we adapt to the game, not that we're like stuck in any one way. Because coming with Clash, we ran Clash scrims when that came out, when that was still feasible. We've rotated through modes and stuff. We've tried different tournament alternatives. All of these things have come, like, maybe not as quickly as the community wants them, but they do come. And for what, like, the size that we have, the number of people, the hours that they're putting in, it's certainly not impossible to just like grow and iterate with the game. That's sort of like, yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, I think an easy thing that could potentially, like, this is definitely going to take some testing, but if Dominion, like, if the matchmaking, I don't even have the right word here. If the matchmaking works in such a way that queue sniping is possible, we could easily do tournaments and have like streamed perspectives, right? We could easily it wouldn't be as clean production wise, but it would be possible. We could easily do like show match like streams where we do throw a couple of casters on some player perspectives and talk about what we're seeing. And I mean, there's definitely still something to be had here. And regardless, the player perspective, like individual team versus team content, is going to happen because we're playing rank. Like that's going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
So I think that we're definitely entering like a new era for like what competitive Spellbreak looks like, because one, we're jumping into a whole new mode, which is so exciting. Two, we got to see the adaptability of these players. We got to see how people work in teams of 5 and how the comms are, because
Comms and fives. Oh,
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be that's a learning experience for a lot of
Yeah,
people.
100%.
If you haven't been in that scenario or haven't done it in a while, you gotta really tighten in the comms now. It's got to be pretty concrete and concise. So there's a lot that we have to look forward to competitively alone. I'm excited about it. I even think that like the rewards for leagues, they're not really exactly what I want, but I think that the title is sick. Like that's exactly one thing that I wanted. I want a title. I want a title that shows how long I've been in the game and like when I was like what rank I got to, and I really like stuff like that. I think that there's a lot that's not in the game going into chapter 2 that we obviously know that we want, and a lot of that we've already like shared feedback on, like, yeah, we really want this, like we want that, and they've literally already responded like, oh, not at launch, or definitely something we're looking at, or and so I don't know, man. I'm very quick to give proletariat shit when I think they deserve it, and I'm very quick to praise them. And I'm just so pleased, man. I think that chapter 2 is going to be massively successful if they can do the mid part, the upkeep part of chapter 2 right. If they can keep it interesting throughout the course of the season, if we don't run into a bunch of delays or game breaking bugs, I'm going to throw that one out there. If we got a whole lot of white screen, black screen, this, that, the other, that's tough. That's really damning. So I think that if they can nail a lot of those things, which is their job, and that's what they get to work on, then I think that chapter 2 is going to be really lit. I know Ross has had this opinion. He feels like chapter 2 is going to be dope, but chapter 3 is going to pop. And I kind of feel like I'm feeling that a little bit too. Like I feel like chapter 2 is going to be lit. If the door's wide open, everybody, like there's going to be a lot of people looking at the game, hopefully, and getting into the game, bringing new players, new talent, whole new, it's a new game, dude. It's entirely different. And chapter 3 is going to be like more polish on top of that. So I'm excited for like the next, like for the rest of 2021. I think Spellbreak is looking good. I mean, I know that's a pretty bold prediction, but I think like 2021 Spellbreak is looking pretty good.
The question: what players do you think that are not in the maybe the best spot in BR or best spot talent-wise competitive players? What players are you looking for and thinking they're going to rise to the occasion? Because me and Cam had a pretty in-depth talk, and I think I have like a good grasp of like players I'm looking out for to do great things.
Ooh, that's tough. Man, it's really tough because there's a lot of, I want to say like outside of maybe like the top like 2, 3, 4 teams, a lot of teams feel real even. I just see a lot of similarities in their performances and the way that they play. I also don't know everything about a lot of these players. Like there are really, really good solo players that like I look at him and I'm like, dude, that guy's really good at what he does in solo BR. But like solo BR skills don't translate to 5v5 team skills. Like I mean, I'm not saying they don't translate, but they might not translate so cleanly. And like that is that's going to be really interesting to see, because I think that I hate to say this, but I do think that this is true. I think there are going to be players that are really, really good in the game currently that may struggle a little bit to make some of the adjustments, and I think there's going to be players that rise, like you said, like instantly come out of the gate like with some fire because maybe this is more suitable for them. I also think that the game mode is just much more. I think that this game mode
substantial.
It's more substantial, but it's also just like a hard lock objective. Like you're going into the game knowing exactly what you need to do. There's a lot less decision making that needs to be made positionally in a bigger context of like you have one life. Like you need to make really good decisions, you need to have really, really good calls, but it's like you know what the game mode is, you know what you need to do. There's no RNG zone that's going to pull you and force you to make a decision about where you're rotating. There's no high ground that you might need to control because you think that it's going to give you a better position off of what you see. Like there's a lot of subjective decision making that happens in BR that some of those that just won't be there, and it's going to be a lot more clean cut and really mastering what's right in front of us. And once we start to master that, it's going to be putting the reps in and getting better at what we see as a necessity in that mode. So
personally, I really think that like I was looking at what is this, Shmaloop or something?
Shmaloop. I brought him up to Ross recently.
Talent. Like I think that's a talent. Yeah, I think that's straight up talent. I'm looking at players like Cubby. I forgot who else did I mention. A few others, but like I really think that they're players that I watch and they take their fights really well, but they're just like not that great as far as BR game sense wise, and you can bait them into weird situations. But when you really like comes down to it, it's like that's not an option anymore. Like there's not gonna be just baiting someone into like a random third party. Like if they're gonna be able to clearly see everything, if they can press their fight and take it, like like so people that brawl a lot better than others. And I really think like SK has been playing really aggro for a very long time. They're really good at pressing their fights. Same thing with CL. Those people that are on that team, they're capable of doing it. So I really think that those aggro teams that have been playing that way, we'll see how those teams shape up in comparison with like the G3, the UT, whatever the case may be. But I'm really expecting a lot of new players to grow, and I think that's what's really gonna shake rosters when people start to realize that there are other players outside of this like natural group that we think that can excel and do well, and also present good communication to the thing. Because my thing is, if your comms are not great, me personally, I don't want to play with you. I know that's a thing.
It's just hard. It's hard to play with someone that doesn't have good comms. Because there's not gonna not be someone that can't get the job done with good comms.
Exactly.
So yeah, it really is gonna make players rise to the occasion. To have to be that player, right? To be the player that you need. I'm excited to see. Oh wait, I had something in my mind and then I got sidetracked and then I just put out a generic sentence to start because I knew I wanted to say something there. That was awkward. That was really weird. I don't know why I did that. I'm gonna go on. I want to hit this point because I did it on your stream the other day, Kaos. But I want to throw this out there on a more official broadcast here. Sure. Novin is good at the game and he needs to up his confidence because the kid's good and I want to see him perform and I want to see him play and. I was very shocked to see him like, oh, I think I'm so bad at the game. I was like, what the hell, dude? Like, you're nuts. Like, I've watched him play. I've seen him perform well. And I want to get that out there so if he's in here, if he stumbles across this, if somebody sends it to him, whatever the case may be, dude, like, nah, confidence or go home. You know what I mean? Like, you're good at the game.
Yeah.
You're good at the game. Let your skills speak for you, and let that performance like show up and be the reason why you're confident. So
and the thing I like about him, his communication comes out really clearly. It's just the things that he says as a result of that confidence you mentioned is what affects that. So like his call outs would be really clean if he was confident in what he was saying. So like even like I played with him, and I think one of the players I'm most interested in, I'll put that out publicly, is that I'm really interested in playing with Novin. Like I really want to play with Novin because I'm like I like what I see in his player ability and his capability to get fights done. His ability to open up, his communication is really good. He's a really calm, level-headed player. He seems to be really good whether the situation is the pressure's high or low. So I really like that. And in reference to Otto saying that we're gonna be having any OG players returning, I've heard of some. Spooks is coming back. Really excited for him to come back. I see RF is coming back. For those that don't know who RF is, Rush Frog. So I'm really looking for some of the OGs to come back. I do think that some of the OGs coming back means that they're going to be really behind mechanically, and that they're going to suffer a lot, and they're gonna have a very tough time. So
I think it's going to be interesting to see maybe like an OG team form that can clearly grind up and be good, but we'll have to put in that work, because it's really like, from my perspective, like, again, I view me and Ross as like pretty good players. I think that we're going to be able to build a pretty solid team. We got a lot of work to do because obviously we're starting at a 2-man, we're not even starting at a 3-man. But I have no context to put me and Ross in a team that we build up against an OG team. I have no idea what that's going to look like. Do I think it's going to be free? Hell no. It's not going to be free. It's going to be interesting to see how their former experience in the game, and obviously just like natural ability to play games competitively, going up against people that have been playing and have done decently in a previous event, will go up against each other, and just what kind of roster forms around that. Because I was like chit-chatting with Rush Frog on the chat, and I was just like, yo, like, what team are you playing on? And he was like, oh, I don't know, I'll probably like, he was like, I'll bring back like an old haunt team or something, like, you know what I mean? And so like, he'll play with someone. He's gonna play with there's a name I've heard recently, I have no clue who it is, like Tusk is a name I've heard recently. I have no idea if he's around or plays the game, but I have no idea who that is. So like, stuff like that's really cool. So I'm excited for what I believe will be the influx of players on top of the return of players that are, dude,
I heard New Kid was nasty.
When
I'm sorry, I was in your chat.
No, yeah, I got you. See, I don't know what that is either. New Kid, like, I have no idea what
I heard
that
New
is.
Kid was nasty.
That's cool. Like, I'm excited to see, like, that. Why wouldn't we welcome that? I think that it's going to be really cool to see what players jump in, and again, if you were a player that used to love Spellbreak or do love Spellbreak, but you just didn't feel like there was much for you, dude, the addition of a ranked mode, doesn't that just like automatically rope you back in? Like, do you even have a choice? You know what I mean? Like, it feels like at least a little bit, right? Because you may not be super jazzed about Dominion. I'm sure there are plenty of people that aren't super excited about Dominion. Actually, you know what, we'll definitely, I mean, we don't have Tacos on today. For anybody that doesn't know, Tacos is an XCEL creator with us in the XCEL universe, but I would love to, I'm excited to hear Tacos' opinion on Dominion as well, because I know he's very much so into BR, but just in general, very, very excited to see
yeah, gonna get a whole nother perspective when we get more people in here.
Also, has Kuzi been around? What's he been up to these
Cozy?
Yeah, or QQZ.
Oh,
no,
no,
QQZ.
Plop.
Plop. Yeah, Plop. What's Plop been up to these days? Is he coming back? Because Plop was one of my Kryptonite players. I don't like fighting Plop. It's not a fun time for me usually, and so I'll be excited to see if he comes back and goes hard on some. Actually, Plop was like the third person I ever watched stream this game. The first person I ever watched stream this game was Dapper. I jumped into his chat, and then I was just like looking at the different classes, and like I was such a baby to the game, I didn't know which class I was gonna like want to play and stuff. And Plop's stream title was like, I don't know, 1,000 hours on Tempest or it's something like that. You know what I mean? Something like that. And I watched him play a bunch of Tempest like really early on, like close to launch. And I remember thinking like, oh god, this guy's insane. Like, and he is good. He's very good. So it'll be cool. Plop is coach for CL. That's cool. That's really, really cool. Oh wow, coaches, dude. I haven't even thought about coaches.
Diego.
Oh yeah, Diego. Like, I would love to see. I know he's been streaming the game a bit recently. He was streaming last night, so like, you'll see where Diego lands.
Diego's kind of nasty. He's just like his aim is just nasty. So it's like I don't really think, like, I think if Diego can get with an IGL that he can listen to, he's golden. Like, it's just I think it's that simple. Like, Diego's really clean. So that's like I would say my eyes on Diego too.
There's so many. I was gonna say there are so many people that I am I don't want to say I'm just looking at, because that makes it seem like the intention is that I'm like going after them. Because I mean, I'm open to looking at anybody right now, really.
Yeah, right.
But like Gigs, Ilya, I've had my like I'm curious about where they're gonna land. Obviously, the CL roster, see what they finish on. One of the people that me and Ross were talking about just in passing, we've been looking at like the old performances and stuff too out of Element, but like Lil Hustle, he's good, man. He's good. Like there's just people in the community that I'm excited to see who they start grouping up with and like where they land. And like then once, because again, we really don't have competitive context yet, but like once competitive starts really taking a front seat and becomes like real serious when tournaments start popping up, it's gonna be really interesting to see.
I think even when rank gets a little bit more gritty, like when rank gets like to that platinum diamond mark and you start to see who are in those teams, that's gonna be really cool. Like, you know, seeing who is favorable among those teams. And yeah, my thing is just like my advice to anyone that's like interested in building a 5v5 team, give it time, let it develop. Don't switch rosters every 2 days. If that's like what your thing is, right? If you're trying to build with certain players, I know you like, for example, me, I'm trying to get a feel for certain players, so I'll mix the rosters around and I won't set anything in stone. But if you say, hey, this is the team I'm going to lock in, and you plan to pursue ranked and like getting legend with that team, more likely than not, it's going to take you a set 5 to get there because of some of the people that are just able to mix together like really good teams that are going to like. So my thing is, make sure you stick together, make sure you allow it time to develop. Don't just like, you know, play one game with someone and judge them completely off of that.
That's some gears coming out of you right there, bro.
You know, like, I'm so concerned about that. I do not want this community like that. It's so easy for like, you know, developing communities to just start just like changing rosters left and right. Like, bro, play with people, get a feel for them,
give it time,
see how it works, see what they can improve on, and like, you know, like my thing is, even with certain players, every player has their own thing that they can like, you know, that they like are gonna work on. However, me personally, like Megaverse is accepted, like, yo, whatever Chaos brings to the table, I'm gonna accept what Chaos brings, and we can work on that. I can say that, yo, however Megaverse comes to the table, I want to like improve with Megaverse. I can say whatever Novin brings to the table, you know, like whatever the case, or whoever I want to play with, you know. So like my thing is, everybody has their vices, and like as being a comp player, but if you choose to be able to feel like you can progress those vices, make sure you stick with those people, man, and build true relationships, because like that will benefit you even when you may come to leave that team. Because I'm not saying you're gonna stay there for 10 years, but like, you know, whatever the case may be, like, you know,
I think
my Tempest one trick now.
Wait, say that again.
Tempest one trick now, Chaos. Have fun.
I just want to butt in real quick. Sorry.
No, absolutely.
Tfal's got to head out. So everyone,
bye, Tfal.
Thank him for showing up
Thanks
today.
for coming.
Tfal, peace out, homie.
Peace.
Yeah, see you later, man.
That's funny. Right, wait, he wasn't gone already? What do you mean?
It says hang up the call. Wait, does that mean I'll hold on?
You can can literally just close the
I
page.
pre-made it so your thing's not gonna drop.
Yeah, you're fine. You can dip out.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Damn. Oh, one thing that I think I loved about like some of my days in coaching for Gears teams was a big focus of mine, because coaches in general have like a really they have their own style. Like not every coach is a one size fits all. You have very different styles, and one of my styles for coaching was I didn't just focus on in-game gameplay and strategy. I focused on out-of-game interpersonal communication and relationships. And I think that when people unlock that ability to understand that and to know why interpersonal communication and interpersonal relationships is important, is how you unlock like that's when you open the door of being like a really good teammate and being a really good leader, and the teams really start to mesh. Because there are some players, I'm gonna straight up say it, there are players that will respond perfectly fine to being like, that was a fucking stupid decision, you should never make that decision, fuck you, don't ever ruin my game like that again. And then there will be players that will completely shut down if you send them that. If you send them that energy, they will hate you, they will resent you, they won't play with you. There are so many different ways that people respond to things. And being a good leader, being a good coach, being a good team requires you to not only just know how to play the game and communicate in game, it requires you to know your teammates. It requires you to understand what their level of communication and how they accept information and how they accept that kind of criticism. And if you as a leader can't be that person that understands your teammates, you're not a good leader, and you're going to struggle. And like things like that is so interesting to me, because there will be, dude, I could probably build a super team, right? I could build a super team, not me, I'm saying I could put one on paper, and they might suck, right? Like that could be a shit really team bad, because it just depends. It really just depends. And so I'm really, really interested to see where the leadership comes from and who steps up and how people, again, it's a whole new ball game for Spellbreak. We haven't seen this before. It's going to be really, really cool to see some of that and how people work together. And bro, just to say it, to hear like, oh, this guy fucking sucks at communicating, like he's an asshole in team play, like it's all of that, all of those factors that come into play, and seeing how the people work together.
Yeah. And I feel like that it's so funny because like once we get to that like upper diamond and like when we're like trying to like play around and getting the legend, the talk of like how a player is gonna be very fast. So be mindful, like you're setting a reputation as you play, like especially if you don't have a core players that you're playing with, like you don't have a core, like those cores that like you team with are gonna be really vicious sometimes because they feel like they're gonna like I'm very aware that like if you pick up 2 players, it's like oh like those kids that we picked up are dog shit. Meanwhile, you might be the main problem. So like that's why I always tell like whoever I play with, tell me what it is. Like tell me what you feel like I can work on better. How can I make you do your job better? So like I'm really big on wanting to make those interpersonal skills, but also understand that there's catalysts that happen before there. Like I think me and Megaverse are good teammates because we had the hardest and worst low level arguments that we could have ever had. They were stupid, like completely. And they came with the way he said something to me, or the way I said something to him, or the way I acted after he said something to me that I wasn't okay with.
Yeah, but you know what solidified that becoming good teamwork is one of y'all not being a bitch and leaving. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. Some people don't have that thick skin, and some people don't know how to do that. And another thing, and listen, you have to approach things with humility and be willing to be embarrassed in the face of your teammates. If I have a teammate that they don't feel comfortable coming to me and saying, "Hey, man, I really don't like the way you talk to me that way," then we'll never get better. And I also, but that doesn't mean that the responsibility is only on that person, right? That means I need to recognize who my teammates are, like I said. So I think that it's going to be very, very fun to see the conversation about the team, because the rosters are not going to be solid for a while.
Never.
Maybe I could realistically, I could see maybe a few teams solidifying some rosters, but there's going to be a lot of floatiness going on.
I think UT's roster is going to be solidified for like maybe a week and 2, but after they start getting a little friction, I think that roster will shake up a little bit. In my opinion, like the ideal super team we're talking about, like because it's probably forming in some fashion, not including me and Megaverse, but like it's.
I'm gonna be honest. If there's not a team that doesn't have the original list, I'm just gonna float this out there. I don't think it matters what my opinion is. If there's not a team that has the original UT with Megaverse on it, I just don't see that dream of a super team coming to life. I think if you keep like a version of G3 and a version of UT separate, which is clearly what's happening, then there's plenty of room for like rivalry play, like rivalry, like level of play. Like I think we're
both gonna get fed up at some point. I think we're both gonna get fed up, and that's gonna happen in some fashion. I feel like I don't know what fashion is gonna happen, but I feel like it happens. Like it somewhere down the line, we're gonna get fed up, and if the scene develops in the way that we want to, and then that is really like what we need to do to like like say for instance we get I'm just throwing out complete hypotheticals here. Like if we get a big pro league and it has a large prize money, I feel like that's when we're gonna be like see like this rivalry could be really split between first place. How do we do this? Like, and that's gonna be like a really big thing. But I feel like at the moment, like, yeah, I'm pretty set on just like my only thing I'm really set on is staying with Megaverse. That's like the only thing I'm really set on. And I think Megaverse and me have had that talk where like, yeah, that's what we want to keep in common. So
Chaos keeps me in line. Like I've had teammates where they'll tell me something and I'll just stop listening to them. And Chaos keeps me in line. It's fine. It's the best team I've ever been on. Best teammate I've ever had.
It's my homie right here.
Aww.
Yeah.
That got real wholesome real quick.
Yeah, that's
Right?
too sentimental.
What just happened, bro? I'm so happy all of a sudden.
When you like having like I don't know, I'm sorry like to go on this whole tangent, but like I feel like when you've really have like put in that time to be teammates and have arguments and say like, bro, what you said to me can't happen. And he's like, okay, I'm sorry. And then I've said things to him and he's like, you can't talk to me that way. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. And we take the responsibility of saying like, even though that may not have mattered if it was said to me, the fact that it matters to you is what I hold, what I'm going to hold to be important. You know what I mean? So it's like having a teammate like that, bro, invaluable. Like I'm not going, there's no way I can do it. And proved loyalty in the midst of like people trying to create like these little small rosters, and we've proved the loyalty there. Like, bro, wherever he goes, I go.
Dude, I'll just put it this way. I think I feel like I have that same feeling because, me and Ross just kind of started playing together out of nowhere. Like, literally, what happened was I had a strategy that I wanted to employ. and I wanted a Frostborn player. That's literally why me and Ross started playing together. Me and him vibe really, really well together, but I think really what solidified it is like, dude, the minute that I flung those nudes his way, there was just no way that we could get away from that. You know what I mean? Like, he's seen it all. Like, at this point, it's ride or die.
Holy dude, someone needs to edit the VOD. Cut that out. Shut it down.
Dude, I didn't even
shut the whole thing down.
I didn't even get like a single laugh in this call. I try to.
Oh my God.
I always try to set up my comedy where I get like so elaborate and bullshit, and then I just say some dumb shit at the very end. But yeah, no, I don't know. And he says he's funnier than me, dude. I mean, listen, me and Ross played a like a random squad last night, and we were literally playing a game with our random teammate to see who could make him laugh more. Like that was like.
Wow,
yeah, we were trying to make our mans laugh
team
more.
bonding.
Yeah, dude, that's team bonding right there. We got to see who the better comedian is out of the team. I mean, I'm better looking, so at least there's that.
It's just relentless, dude. Just back and forth. Holy.
No, it's there's no, but seriously, I mean, even like just to actually talk about like rosters and stuff, like I don't know who we'll land with. I have no idea. I know about the type of players I want, not even just actual players I want. Like I know what kind of roles I'm looking for, and I know what kind of communicators I need more so than like what class they play, because I just don't have a clue what the meta is going to be. But I think that we have a lot of time to see what's going to go on there. Because who knows, bro? Maybe I do need 2 stone shapers, and I don't know where to look for them at. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what we need, but I also think that it's going to be important for that flexibility to come out in that form. So, and I'm glad that I feel like I'm a flexible player, because it means that like if I do, like say I do want a conduit on my team, but I also need like a second stone shaper, like I can play the second stone shaper and find a conduit, or vice versa, or whatever the case may be. So, fun stuff, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, I think that's just a general sentiment. Everyone's just super hyped to do stuff. You know, it's been a long couple of months. No, not a lot of updates, but a lot's happening now. I think everyone's just
the
happy
ball's
to-
rolling, as we can really say, to be honest, about everything.
So let's talk a little bit about the announcement, like the launch trailer and the announcement of the date and stuff. How did you feel, either like seeing that when it came out, or like waking up to it, or what was the overall feeling when you got to see the trailer and you had it in your head now that we have like a hard date on it?
I was disappointed we didn't see the bird alive from trailer 1.
Dude, that bird's fucking dead. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead.
gone.
He's dead. He had a family. His wife and kids are alone. He's dead.
Wow, kind of dark there, buddy.
Yeah, that took a turn for the.
You just lost my viewer.
No, I don't know. Listen, man, and we never know. The spell storm is just, it's energy, right? Like maybe we survive. I don't know.
Yeah, his soul carried on in the spellstorm. Coming back, chapter 7.
Yeah, you know, when he fucking evaporated, he's fine.
See, that's the thing. We really think that this is all about these evil people in the Val Guards and stuff, but it's really it's the Crow, dude. He's pulling the strings. Like he's got it all, bro.
Actually, speaking of evil people, can we talk about that like main villain guy? That guy's hairline, dude. The definition of mauled.
I can't believe they got Asmongold to
Balding,
play
literally.
such a good role in the game. I've been making that joke for days. I'm sorry, Asmongold
That's
is
so fucking bad.
I love
yeah.
I love Asmongold. If anybody doesn't know who he is, he gets a lot of bald jokes, but it's really fun. But no, I thought I thought that the trailer
It's a
was
mature hairline. Mature hairline.
Yeah, it's just maturity, dude. I thought that the trailer was really cool. I thought that I was not expecting the animation at all. I just wasn't expecting that. The chapter 1 trailer was not really that way, and I thought it was cool. I thought it definitely opened the door, especially with that survey. We talked about that a little bit, right? Like the survey like coming out about like, do we want to see like different kinds of media and merchandise and stuff like that. I feel like it was all very much so like symbiotic and painting a picture. And I also think that like before the chapter trailer came out, I was like looking at that survey and I was like, is this real, or is this just like one of those surveys they throw out there to see what they get back, right? Like, is this real? Is that a possibility? And now that I saw the animation for the trailer, I was like, now my mind just goes to one thing. Like, if they have all of this, right? Like they set up that trailer, they're feeling out whether or not we're interested in watching like a series and stuff. I just see longevity in my eyes. Like I'm not just seeing like cool animation and stuff. I'm seeing like years to come for Spellbreak, and like and I can't.
Dota anime.
And dude,
Mhm.
and it just
Yeah.
so happens, I love that it literally lined up that way. That like the trailer released on the same day as the Dota anime, and the Dota anime is like
Yeah.
pretty good. I've watched like an episode and a half so far. It's 8 episodes long, but it's like
It
really
gets so much.
good,
It gets so much better.
dude. It's so good just from the animation
okay.
standpoint. And now I'm looking at Spellbreak like, dude, just do it. Like, send it, man. Like, if y'all
I mean,
have,
it seemed really cool. Like it really seemed like they really laid that out really well. As much I was kind of I was impressed, surprised that it was even that good. Like I was like, wow, this is like a pretty hype chapter trailer.
Yeah,
I mean,
there was substance there. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. There was substance. There was like storyline. There was like something they were doing with it, and they can see they're really ready to evolve it. So like, I mean, like that, like you said, like there's that longevity thing that you're saying there. So I mean, I really like, I'm really thinking like I remember me and Krashy had meant to say that he's like concerned about his investment in Cellbrick, and we talked about like, how you feel like like you're investing this money at a time. It's starting to feel really good. Like I think you're starting to get to that point where you're like, okay, wait, this like, feels pretty cool. Like there's a lot of things that are here. So I don't know. I think it's really
Yeah.
really sick.
I think I've made a positive change in my outlook on the game recently of being very pessimistic after all these leaks and things have been coming out to moving sort of towards that cautiously optimistic side. And I feel that sentiment sort of rippling throughout the community as well, that people are sort of like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah,
this
I'm really
chapter one.
cautiously optimistic. It's like I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Have to
think
avoid it, not advertising.
if I had to put like a small percentage chance that like we just get into chapter 2 and it just feels like shit, it's like 2% to me. You know what I mean? Like it's like
It's really low.
the mode would have to like I don't know, dude, with the people that they have internally, like they have some people that work at Proletariat that are like decent at the game. I'm not going to say they have the best opinions competitively or anything, but like they know how to play the game. They would have to just be so disconnected to not hit the mark on at very least a decent feeling mode. And the other reality is that the fact that like I really think that any kind of a team mode, as long as it's not like as super casual as Clash was, is better than BR. So I just don't see faults here. Like I don't see issues here except for quality of life, right? And that's all stuff that can easily come. So I like what Take Your Cookie said. He said, I don't see it flopping. The combat is still the same. And the combat is what sells this game. It's always been what sells this game. It's like the art style, how beautiful it is, how awesome the combination of things are, like the spells and blowing shit up and making dragon fire and fire tornadoes and stuff. Like if y'all haven't seen, I love this clip. I look back at it every now and then when Mizkif was sponsored to play and he made a fire tornado and he like literally was like, like he was like, that's sick. Like I didn't think that would happen together that way. And it's like, yeah, dude, this game has all that. And I don't know, bro. I think that it's so like smart to try to push a property like this to anime. Like I genuinely, like I'm not even a massive anime fan. I watch some anime, don't get me wrong. My roommate watches everything. He pays attention to the anime seasons and knows what's coming out. I don't do all that. I watch shows when I think it's appropriate and I have one that interests me. But I think that they're really like, if they can lend themselves to like the anime fandom and the community, and they obviously have this like light hint of Avatar: The Last Airbender that can lend itself to the game, and they can work with these studios to make a series. Like I just feel like I just see all of this coming together so nicely.
It's really funny because apparently the studio they used to animate the trailer is the same studio that animated The Legend of Korra, which is Avatar.
Wait,
you know?
did they? I thought it was. I know it was the same studio that did, or at least I've been told that it was the same studio that did Castlevania.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I thought Dota was Castlevania.
No.
No, I think you're confusing the two.
Well, maybe shit. Now I might be wrong. I don't know. I'll let somebody.
I might be the one inverting. It might have been Dota that did Korra.
Either way, it's cool, right? Like it could be Korra, or it could be Korra or Castlevania, because both of those shows are good from what I've heard. I do want to look at what Free Dominski's said in chat. So what do you think about the checkpoint tier? Strongly disagree with those as an avid ladder grinder in other games. So we kind of touched on it a little bit. I don't think that it's like an existential issue for ranked. I don't think it's going to ruin ranked. I'm not a huge fan of it, and I think that if they would, like, I would have personally put the floors on 10 instead of 5. But again, I think that because the game has such a hard grind, we're really going to see the skill levels pull apart when you get to plat. I think when you hit plat, like the skill levels are going to start really shredding apart. Like and where people are going to start pulling away the most are like the 5-stack teams, and people are going to probably like inch their way forward on like smaller groups, like through like anywhere between 1 and 3. And I think like getting Diamond Plus is like a triumph. Like I think that if you get to plat 5, you're probably a pretty good player. If you get to Diamond, you're like a very good player, and if you get to legend, you're probably like one of the best players and a damn hard grinder. So I think that this system actually might look worse than it actually is.
Yeah.
I actually think that the system's going to be really, really good. So I'm pretty excited about that. Jellied said
Yeah.
Dota is the same as Korra. Just googled. Okay, so the Dota anime are the same people that made Korra, and then the Castlevania is the same people that made the trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
Encourage throwing because you get nothing to lose. I mean, I'll put it this way: if we have issues with throwing and like people like trying to cheat or win trade or do weird shit like that, then that'll be solved in other ways, right? Like that'll
Yeah, I think it's just reportable.
It's reportable, and I already said if I see people like trying to stay up late and do weird shit with matchmaking and trying to win trade, like you're headlining a video, bruh. Like I got you. This makes me want to tell a really funny story that I don't think is bad at all. Do y'all remember in Halcyon how you could like get inside that wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the tower or the wall?
No, it was like a wall.
The
it was like, and it's like a
wall, like,
broken
next to the
wall.
main.
Yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
broken wall, and you could like.
I remember that.
Okay,
That was like a huge deal. Yeah.
One of the first times, dude, I'm doing it. I don't care. One of the first times I ever fought Ilya, my man's was running away from me, and he hid in that fucking wall, and I climbed up in there, and I see him sitting in there like this, like I killed him in there. I thought it was the funniest thing because I knew who Ilya was already, and I'll never forget that. I just always thought it was so funny. My man's tried to hide inside the wall, and I chased him down.
Because those rocks on top of the towers, that was my favorite spot, dude.
Oh yeah,
Like,
you
I
could
used
hide
to-
inside the tower.
I used to
forgot
rat
about
there
that.
for like end game 9 out of 10 games when it was Halcyon, dude.
Oh man. So Kyrie said, I hope that they never change nerf the core combat and mechanics. Like nerfing classes and towns interactions is fine, but that they never make the mistake of making the game feel bad to play. I feel like of everything that Proletariat should know, hard fact is that the combat is like solid. Balance is one thing, but I think you keep the core mechanics in place. You kind of like you approach the game with a less is more mentality on that. Like don't get too wild, right? Like you keep it set. I think like if I want to, especially because I do a lot of this. I'm sorry if anybody like gets annoyed when I do this. I do a lot of callbacks to Gears of War with Kaos because that's where we come from. But like, dude, we have seen the direct impact of developers just doing too much. Like just
the core mechanics of the game, and everyone hates the game, and the player base they had just vanishes.
I also think that Halo suffered that same fate. I think that Microsoft made a lot of issues there. Halo just armor locking and sprinting and all this weird shit. Like people wanted to play the game that they wanted to play, and I think that we have already found that foundation for us. We want to play the game that we want to play. You want to know who's the biggest offender of overdevelopment right now? I put it on Twitter yesterday. It's Fortnite. They overdevelop their game and people hate it. Stop reinventing the wheel. The wheel works. It rolls. You push it, it rolls. Like
better.
Like keep no new wheels are bullshit. Let me have my normal wheel.
New wheels are bullshit.
They killed Battle Right. If you've heard of that, dude, I loved Battle Right, but you know what sucked about Battle Right, and I think that I can't say this was the biggest issue. I was not big in that community, didn't stick around too long. I played the ranked, it was fun. I think that Battle Right failed to capture a casual audience. It was just a very competitive game no matter what. Even before they had ranked in it, it was a pretty hardcore kind of game, and I actually think that like Spellbreak is doing that better. I hope they are. It feels like they are. So.
I think the other thing that's like also interestingly different for most gaming communities to this one is like Spellbreak. As much as we have a competitive player base, I think they care about the casual player base as like also.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like we're not like I feel like the comp players are not super locked in. Like this is comp utopia. Like it doesn't matter. Like like me personally, I consider myself to be a really really competitive player, and I'm just like yeah, but we need that for the casual player base. Or the buff was good. Like it sucks that it was around for a long time, but like I feel like the buff being around for as long as I'm somewhat helped the player base because we were getting full lobbies like the past like couple of days. Like the game's been like I know like we're still in the same game that we had before the buff was there, but like there's like lobbies are pretty healthy. Like you can get full 42 squads at like late night. Like it was pretty fun. So like and I'm seeing newer names that I haven't seen before. So like I don't know. I think the game's in a really really good spot, and Chapter 2 is gonna give it more. And the hype is building for Chapter 2. Like they've created that. So I really think also like we're very mindful of the casual player base, so I think we're doing the right things to make sure we captivate that player, so we can make sure that game is in a better spot.
All right, so we are at about 2 hours and 40 minutes in total. I know that the show hasn't been going that long because we had that little chit chat at the beginning, but I have like one more topic that I'm specifically interested in talking about. I don't think it'll be a long one, so we obviously we thank everybody for being here and hanging out with us for these discussions. But one of my last things that I've been thinking a lot about is and this is something that gets brought up a lot, even with or without the context from chapter 1, is marketing the game and how they decide to market the game. I've already seen something as of yesterday and today that I'm not a huge fan of, and I don't know if this is from the authors of the 2 articles that we saw that came out that we talked about briefly earlier, but both of those articles refer to the game as a battle royale. I fucking hate that. Like, I now more than ever, I want us to stop calling Spellbreak a battle royale because it's actually true. But I don't think that that's too bad, right? I don't think it's the biggest thing in the world. But I am hopeful that we definitely don't see a lot of that officially coming out, like, oh, it's a battle royale. No, I just want them to continue to keep calling it that spell casting action game, whatever they say sometimes. But really, the point of marketing that I want to talk about is like sponsored content, sponsored streamers, videos, and things like that. I personally think that they definitely need to do another round of that. Again, it's so hard to predict what developers can and can't do budget wise. They obviously have a plan and they have a financial team and people that work and do budget stuff. But I really do hope that we see a solid round of marketing for chapter 2 specifically, because I think now more than ever it's the right time.
Hopefully no more skin cream.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind.
Actually, I want something else like that.
I would like something like that,
Really?
but I think that the product maybe needs to be a little bit more
Yeah, I guess that's
the product is just a little bit odd. Again, I think that it's fine, but I think it's memeable when you do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about it like how many months later,
I personally think I think it'd be really cool to see them go into like a Centurion kind of theme and really go after Trojan condoms, because that's just one of those products that I just absolutely love, and I really want to see my exclusive skin.
Okay.
Body, dude.
I don't know.
Yeah.
COVID's got me down bad, bro.
I almost took that way too far. Jesus, dude.
Anyway, I think they really can push the marketing. Maybe, I don't know. It's can they or can they not? Do they have the money to do that? Is a question, I think. Right, for me at least. I think like that content batch that they did before would be much better appreciated now, because we have a 5v5 game mode. So it's like, and we have a nice hardcore rank system. So like they'll be able to see their progression. They'll fall in love with that, and then I think everyone that really likes a hard progression like that is gonna really say like it'll be okay, and then harder to Q snipe, so those players that play are safer. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that can be done better, and it'll highlight the game's combat, and then it'll be more digestible for the early stages of viewers and people that are new that want to get into games. Say, hey, 5v5, like that's pretty cool. I can do that. I can play with myself. I can play with a group of friends. So I really want to get into it. So I think that would be really huge right now, but it's just a matter of, can they do that?
I mean, I definitely think that I would be very shocked to see them not do any level of marketing. Maybe they won't do it the way that they did it, because chapter 1 marketing was actually, dude, if you really step back, they probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on that marketing.
It was
thick. It was some thick marketing. So maybe they'll use that as a learning experience to maybe pull that back some, because I don't even know if you need to go that hard, even if the game is good. So we'll see what they do with that. Now, I will say that I get weird sometimes, and I went to Cypher PK's chat and I asked him, I said, are you going to be sponsored to play Spellbreak Chapter 2 in a couple weeks? And his response was very interesting. He said, I don't know yet. I usually will know about a week before. And so, first of all, he didn't hit me with, oh, Chapter 2 on Spellbreak's coming out. So I feel like he already knows. And 2, he said he doesn't know yet. So I think that it's a realistic possibility that they've already maybe started the initial point of communication to talk to him and other content creators. Also, he's clearly one of the bigger ones that they should definitely go after. They went for a lot they went for a lot of people the first time, and I think that's totally fine. But I think that now they can use that as an experience and hone in on certain ones that I think are really, really worth. Electra, Michael Reeves, Cypher PK, maybe even just smaller content creators, because I don't think you always need the biggest.
I kind of also want them to push the Nick Merckx one again. I kind of like, that's just me personally. Like, I'm a big fan of Nick Merckx, so
Oh
That's
yeah,
just my personal
absolutely,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
kind of want
I
the
think
person to
you
mix one
can.
a little.
I think if you can get PK, you can get Nick because they can always go hand in hand on some games.
Yeah, no.
Also, we didn't even. Oh, Seagull. I love when people say people always have to put me in check whenever I forget content creators. But like Seagull and Shroud would be great to get because both of them
Yeah.
love the game.
I did like the game a lot.
I think that we saw an unfortunate situation where like the matchmaking wasn't quite great when they got into it the first time. That just like sucks.
So many Q snipers.
Yeah,
It was
that
so
was
many Q snipers.
that was a thing, but I don't know. I just feel like even in this mode, like think about it, getting shit on in Dominion is probably going to be better than getting shit on in Battle Royale.
way better. Way better.
You're going to respawn, so you can't get shit on 100% of the time, and you're going to have some wins. You know what I mean? It's going to be really, really cool. I think that this wave of marketing, bro, I don't know, man. I have this feeling, I got this thing going on where
maybe even a Dominion Twitch Rivals. Thoughts?
that would be interesting. Who knows, man? I definitely think that they should work with Twitch to try to get some loot drops, right? Like Prime rewards at minimum, because a lot of games do that with and don't do Rivals, right? Like a lot of games put rewards on Prime. So I have a good feeling, man, and that's really what like my sentiment of like today's show has been, and just talking about Dominion and for any proletariat that watches it, listen, dude, I've learned now more than ever, proletariat watch everything. They watch everything. So to proletariat, to the art team, down to the different iterations of Dominion and what it is, hearing Dan say, oh, he said we went through a lot of RNG iteration on this mode. Like, I will say this 1,000 times, they're very talented and I'm excited about it. I think that they're going in the right direction. I think that it's been a process, and it's fun to watch such a I want to say like a smaller dev team, but also remembering that this is like their only game. Like this is the game that they make. They don't have any other agenda, and it's fun to watch them traverse this journey. Like it's their baby, bro. Like they're putting their all into this, and it's really, really exciting. And I think that this whole next chapter is looking very promising. I think that chapter 1 looked very promising, and obviously really started to fall short like halfway through and toward the end. But they're learning, and I think that this is going to be really good. So that's where I'm at.
Agreed.
Any closing thoughts? Anybody want to say some final things? We'll go on ahead and wrap up and maybe shoot a raid over to somebody.
Me and Megaverse are better than you, Crashy. So anytime you're gonna say some Dominion,
oh boy,
you're down bad, bro. I'm sorry. Like I'll clip you on your stream going through it when you played us for the 6th time in a row and you can't get away from us, and you just have to get off for that day because you can't make content out of it. So
it's gonna be so funny to look through the VOD and Kaos is gonna be like, oh, we're playing Krashy. Oh, look at him, I can see the skin over there. And then I'm gonna shit down your throat, and I'm gonna have tracking on, and I'm gonna tracking foresight playing content, and it's gonna be like, oh, and then I'm gonna self promote all over the Reddit about it, like Kaos got shit on, back and forth trash talk. Like, oh, dude, feed me the content, bro. I dare you. Give me that YouTube video.
And you're gonna run into the spell storm because you don't have any awareness of your surroundings.
Bro, the maps are huge. You think I'm just gonna awkwardly walk towards the edge of the zone away from the?
I do.
Damn,
really
this
He's
man
tabbed out rage posting on Reddit, and he just stumbles right into it. Dude.
Yep, I see it already. Like,
fuck, dude, I suck. If I'm walking into the spell storm, we got some bigger problems, man. Hey, let me deadass, let me get out of gold first before I can try to face off with you guys, because I gotta see if I can get there.
Imagine Krashy can't even play us because he's still stuck in gold. Oh man,
there's no shot. There's no shot.
Oh, hard stuff, Krashy.
I'm ready for Krashy. My stupid teammates, man.
Man, I'm so sick of the AFKs.
Corey slam, but it's Krashy, dude.
Can we get that as an emote?
Good luck getting out of gold, Krashy. I wish the best for you.
I'm just gonna say Krashy. Your Krashy keck scares me.
What do you mean,
That is
bro?
not a keck face. That is not a
That is a keck face. It is
That is not a keck face.
What do you mean, bro?
That is not a keck face.
You know what's funny about
fucking demonic.
You know what's funny about doing emotes like that is like you have to make sure that the different contrasts like it really works. So I went into Photoshop and I made all my teeth and my eyes really white, because otherwise it doesn't pop if you don't do that. So like I look really wild in that stupid emote, bro. Oh, I love that emote so much. I think it's so funny. Kaos, Megaverse, Jellied, and I guess Tfal. Thanks for
he might still be there.
Dude, who knows, man?
This is fun.
Yo, don't
always fun.
Marty said domination sucks. I'm so ready for or Dominion sucks. I'm so ready for Dominion to die. I'm telling you now, Dominion's done for. Come on, bro. I'm not like that, man. let me leave. In any case, friends, I think you know, make sure you're paying attention to XCEL. XCEL is going to be we're working hard over here. Like we're gonna do some cool things, and I'm excited about it. It's really nothing super groundbreaking, but it's an effort, which means that we have some accountability, and we're gonna be doing some cool stuff. But yeah, episode 0, which is basically episode 6, we jumped into it, and we're starting fresh, and I love doing this. This is really fun. It's a super interesting form of content that I think is it's always nice to have in a community, and it's always, you know, it's cool to have. It's fun.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
Yeah, 100%.
So everybody, thanks for coming by. Chaos, Megaverse, Jellied, Tfal, I appreciate y'all being here, and I'm gonna send a raid over to my man Trago. We'll
let's go, Ray Trago, raid him, go.
Yeah. So if you're still here, we appreciate y'all hanging out. I'm shipping the raid over in a couple seconds, and yeah, we'll see y'all on the next one.
See ya.
Be nice and love each other.
Oh yeah, be sure to be kind to one another. Tell someone you love them, and we'll see y'all on the next.